so that'll help me
All
out.
right, so
Despite my powers.
Demi has decided to finally kill the memes and pretend to run a proper session. He says he quickly threw us something together real quick, like a couple of hours ago, so it would look real. And I believe he even came up with some kind of an intro to make it look legitimate. So,
I don't have an intro. Okay, look, Chris. The campaign might end in 3 sessions, but I can legally say I had a campaign.
I think campaign is at least 4. That's like a 3 shot, if it's only 3.
A 3 shot, eh? Sure, we're gonna go for 4. I'm gonna fucking milk y'all. So, for those joining for the first time, welcome. My name is Demi, and I'm gonna be your storyteller for today. We have Crest, Yaxi, Kraft, and Redimir as our players. They said they were gonna be late. They weren't. And welcome to the Ageless Accolade, where we will be playing Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages Edition. V20, obviously, because V5 has yet to release that DLC. So, we're going to be starting in the year 1043. It's February. It's slightly cold outside, chilly, mostly rain, luckily not a lot of snow, though in the streets of Paris, bit muddy, everybody's kind of gloomy still, but life goes on. And a night comes about you all. So, for considering sakes, you all can rise essentially with your full blood pool -1, essentially. We're just going to consider that you guys are full for the time being, essentially. And, well, actually, because you didn't record session 0, Chris, I just realized this.
You should.
fucking introduce. Yes, you should introduce yourself.
And you should introduce the settings, because I've read none of the books about France by Night, Demi.
Okay, you want Paris? I'll give you Paris. So Paris in 1043 is a at least in my setting, is a important city. It harbors the Grand Court of Loves, that is basically held by the Queen Matriarch herself, Saliana, and her child, Helene le Just, another important Toreador, Isolde de Blay, and a fuckboy who's called the Queen, but not really, Etienne de Poitiers, supposedly. I don't know fucking French. And they have a lot of power in this region. That's why they established a thing called Courts of Love, and this kind of goes through a lot of France, essentially. Now, they don't really hold power, more so of influence through other ways, putting codes of chivalry, putting this, and obviously holding domains and the like. But the real figure in power, who is supposedly supposed to be in France and Paris, is ya boy, Alexander, the boy prince of Paris. That'll also be my fucking nickname for the time being. I'm the beast inside you guys. I'm everybody's Alexander. Usually, in actual lore settings, Dark Age is supposed to be played in like the 1200s. We're playing this before, breaking some lore, fuck it. And, yeah, essentially. Paris is actually, funnily enough, because it has vampires and actual Toreadors that rule, it is actually a nicer place than real-life Paris in this time. You still have shit in the streets, just not on the main one. Somebody actually cleans that. And there's also light there. That's an invention of the ages, essentially. But in general, the entire idea of this campaign will, I suppose, be revealed short on, maybe probably session 2. But for the time being, let's get your characters in order. Chris, introduce yourself. Not as you, but as the character.
Okay. I am Domnall O'Niad, a ginger peasant boy from Ireland, around a century old at this point, who had humble ambitions of being a bard and traveling through the various townships until the Viking nation attacked. Domnall saw his little dreams burn down along with the tavern and decided that, you know what? He knows how to use a bow, so he started shooting Vikings. They didn't like that very much, so he retreated into the forests. Eventually, he managed to find his way to a ring of stones where he made contact with some fairies who eventually, after years of service, granted him power enough to fight the Vikings by making him a Malkavian vampire. Domhnall was a tiny bit salty about this, but he was okay with this because he could shoot Vikings better now. So he proceeded to do that. Until eventually, many decades later, with a local lord now proclaiming himself High King of all Ireland, and Domhnall being uneducated enough to believe that that's a real thing and not just something he calls himself, decided that his country was safe and left for France to pursue his dream of being a better bard.
Wow. Okay, guys. See, that's how you do an introduction. You really put you put that down there. But if you want a summary of that, it's so. Anyways, I started blasting. Nyaxi, what is your back? Introduce your character.
My character is Francis. He's like a French noble from Normandy.
Full name, please, so that the audience
Sure,
can know.
Francis, Francois de Fagnon or something. Yeah, he was born in Normandy and a nobleman, and then he traveled France for a while and became a vampire, and then he came to Paris at the end.
Why? Why did you come to Paris, Francis?
Because that's where all the good shit is.
Of course. Craft, introduce yourself.
Alright. Severine Levette was born to a peasant family in southern France, in a small town close to Armagnac. He was the eldest son of a loving family. But, and his father was a winemaker, so of course, as a young boy in the Middle Ages, you just, as the oldest son of the, whatever, your eldest son takes to his father's profession. But it turns out Severine is actually quite talented at making wine, So talented actually that he surpassed his father by the age of 15. But even though he started making wine when he was only 12.
So,
Fuck you too, man. Anyways, because his talent in wine was so great, he eventually caught the eye of a high noble in Armagnac. But this noble turned out to not be quite the noble you'd expect him to be. And eventually, he met his sire, who gave him something that was not like wine, but quite tasty indeed. And things continued on, and Severine eventually became a vampire.
oh shit, Vancouver by Night is hosting.
Wait, what do you mean?
Who?
Who?
Vancouver by Night. I assume
hi.
that's a...
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Continue, Craft.
Alright. Anyways, because his winemaking was so great, his sire embraced him for it. But then Severine actually learned that not all vampires can drink wine and enjoy it like he and his sire. Which was a big shock for him. He could not understand how this world could be so cruel to such poor creatures. So he made it his mission to solve this problem once and for all, and set out on a journey. I mean, this journey was quite long, and I don't really know if I should describe this shit, but yeah, he ended in Paris eventually.
That's perfect. Is that also where? Is it also because that's where the good shit is, Craft?
Of course.
Yeah, that's also why I'm here.
God bless Paris. Redemir, please introduce your character or skeleton.
Well, no, it's not a skeleton. You denied that.
Of course it did.
It could have been beautiful. But all I have is like a skeleton reflection. Shame on you. Anyways, I will be playing
Badesty.
Triplana Robin Year. Exactly. She's like she was born to as like a peasant girl in some French village. Eventually made her way through some exploration to some special place, which happened to be the haven of Cappadocian, who noticed her being there and later on approached her for some nice and tidy grooming. Fast forward a few years, she got to embrace, and of course started a proper study of death. And now she has come to Paris to get the good shit because it's all here.
Redomer, I have a question from Twitch chat for you.
Uh-huh.
Where did the bad scouted man touch you?
Right from the start. also, Triplana was first in touching.
Dear God.
Godspeed. Don't worry, guys. Cappadocians only touch the brain. 'Cause
They open the
otherwise you
skull
get-
and lick it seductively.
How,
Takes out brain, licks it seductively. Roll.
how else are you gonna increase your intelligence, huh? You gotta get the
Roll
brain cell-
dexterity medicine to seduce.
God bless. So,
Can I use it as a dice pool, Demi?
excuse me?
Can I use it as a dice pool?
Dexterity medicine?
Yes. To seduce.
We'll see about that. Anyways, just remind me before we begin, you guys did not have a communal haven in the end, right?
Yep.
I don't think we decided on one, and I don't think we know each other well enough to.
So, this is gonna be a grand meme. 2 Toriders, a fucking Cappadocian, and a Malkavian. So, let's actually start. You all wake at your, appropriate times depending on your road. Some a bit earlier, some a bit later. And you take, the starting part of the early night to get ready for the day. Some just need to put their hair back. Some take a bit more precaution with their appearance so that they don't look like the next hobo in line. But an interesting event happens that is quite a little bit interesting to you two, Domhnall and Francis. In the part of your preparing, a crow stands sort of pecking at each of yours windows. Standing simply there, just peck, 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 and it's getting a bit annoying. As you go and check it, it's a crow with a message on it. You take the message and you read, and it's pretty simple. With a small little insignia dedicating by what seems to be the Courts of Love insignia themselves, you are hereby invited to, for this night, approach the Seneschal. Where the fuck is he? Seneschal Bernard. To have a discussion. The message doesn't go on too long, though it does obviously have splendid handwriting and the aroma that would necessitate everything royalty needs to be. It's stated, however, that the approximated time should be around 9 to about 9:30, which is maybe about 2 hours until then. I presume. What would you guys do anything before that, or would you guys maybe go a bit early or something?
Well, I'm gonna put on my good cloak, and I'm gonna just go.
Yeah,
Nice.
same before, so don't have to hunt.
All right. Well, for you other two, we'll get to you later on. But do you guys get into how often do you guys get in sort of like contact?
At least once a week, probably.
All right. It's maybe about an hour later when the two of you also receive a message. Similar crow stuff. You pick it up. It's a bit differently worded, but the essence is still to arrive. Specifically, finding Domhnall and finding Francis, and having them please arrive at the Seneschal Bernard at about 9 to 9:30. Um, if you follow, you guys can meet up eventually. Sort of at the bridge before passing towards the island, before and the Courts of Blood. I think it's called Ile de City. Is actually the actual name of the island. And Francis, you've luckily had some luck though. You knowing that you have to cross the riverside essentially. They have a little bit of issues, but luckily, and the bridge is high enough to where and large enough that as long as you don't look to your left or right, you'll be okay
So risk
for the
the
time being.
water or risk getting ridden down?
But
Ooh.
but as you stand there, knowing you have luckily gone through this road before, and as I say, you don't have to worry about your specific flaw in this case. But in general, you guys can all meet up essentially there, sort of in front. I'd say approximately like maybe here-ish on the what's it called? Here-ish on the on near the bridge, and you guys can all meet up.
Okay. Well, if we arrive at about the same time, yeah, sure.
All right. So I presume you simply take a small little discussion, just to notify that you guys got the message and things, and cross the river. Francis lags a little bit behind, but you guys would eventually pick this up from being with Francis before. And the journey across the bridge takes maybe a minute or two longer than usual, but it goes through. And as you eventually go into Ila City, the scenario essentially. Okay. The scenario is. No, I'm not too scared to make you get a rot Shrek. It's placed high enough, fam. Floods exist. As you arrive there, the scenario entirely changes. There's a reason why this is the middle of the city, why this is where the rich folk go, where the nobles are primarily, and obviously where the courts of love are. The buildings are much more maintained, much more clean, even. It's still early night, so you can still see a little bit more, especially with your eyes adapting. The lights, going over the river, going on the bridge and into it, it seems much more enlightened compared to the shackles of the slums on the left bank and the other parts of the residential areas. And as you continue on, you arrive at the main gate. You introduce yourself. It seems like somebody has been already expecting you, and you eventually enter the basically large ass castle that is here. That seems to be a residency from what you know, both Alexander and the courts and the queens. And it takes you maybe a good 15 minutes to sort of get, through the court, through everything, walking up, walking here, and you eventually get to uh, Bernard's office. What could be said eventually? What do you do?
My lord de Fagnon, I believe you take precedence.
I mean, is the door closed or something?
Yeah, it's currently closed.
I just politely knock.
Yeah, there have been guards that escorted you, but there's nobody like in front there. There's simply two guards essentially that were behind you, escorting you there. So
Okay.
you knock, and you hear a voice, a little bit muffled from the door, but you can clearly pick it up. Come in.
Okay, I will stand there and wait until someone else opens the door for me.
I will immediately open the door for him and bow with a flourish of the cape.
Are you specifically looking to be extra fancy, or?
It's almost casual, like it's a reflex to flash, the colors of a bard.
List. You go in. You don't even take time to really look in before you do your entrance, and obviously everybody else sees this. And as you look up towards the seneschal, which I will reveal right now.
I expect to see his picture covering
Yes.
at least the center of the city.
No, I'm just gonna show you.
Oh, wait, hold up. He looks like a gangrel dog boy dressed up fancy. I can't abide this, Demi.
Don't worry. You know that he's of Clan Ventro, and you can take that however you want. Actually, he sort of has one of his eyebrows essentially just lifted, looking. It's like, I see you've arrived. Please come in, and you all start pouring up. And he stands up. You can see that he was seemingly writing some things, that there's paper parchment on there. But he stands up, sort of brushes himself off, and says, I welcome you this night. Please take a seat. There's a few things I am required to discuss with all of you.
Demi, I have a question about the party. How much status did we each end up with?
I think most of you have basically 2 status. I think the only, I think maybe Redemir has only 1.
Yeah, for only 1.
Yeah,
Status is boring.
Yeah, but in general, you're all slightly known as basically just Insilla, respected. You all have your own professions and are slightly known.
Then, for the sake of the record, I will defer to the to Toridor, because this is their clan's city, and we are on roughly equal footing.
All right.
Treblan can go and fuck herself.
Wow.
Wow, so rude. Do you say that in character?
No, but it's obviously I go before her because I outrank her. Fuck her.
Bless.
Oof. Jesus Christ, good thing I don't care about that.
So, you all take a seat, and he sits down as well, pulling back his sort of deal of a cape to sort of sit down properly, and says, thank you for arriving at the right moment. There's not really anything complicated to speak of. This is mostly referring to Sir Domhnall here and Sir Francis. The 2 of you have been required by the courts to help with assisting of the upcoming party that will occur in about a week or 2. Are you well informed about this, perhaps, or not?
Not, but we are ready to serve, I believe. At least I am.
I know, no? Yeah.
I shrug.
Fair enough. Well, as you may or may not know, depending on, well, how much you care, really, there's been a slight little accident with one of our rosettes. The honor guard, obviously, for the courts. About 2 weeks ago, he passed away. We don't really know why, how, but he's missing, and presumably dead at this point. One of his ghouls felt the bond break, so that's all we can take about that. And as such, as traditions before, and we're now looking for a new kindred to take over his spot in the Rosette. So, because of that, and, well, the courts being the courts, they're organizing a festival of sorts. I'm not sure to the length of the festival yet, but there's going to be one. And obviously that's going to need some preparation. To confirm some things, since I have a small little message here, just to confirm things, Domhnall, you're supposed to be quite qualified with a bow, correct?
I have had some small experience, yes, sir.
All right. Perfect. And he looks at you, Francis, like, oh, I don't have to confirm this one. Anyways,
Hold up!
now you can notice he was looking at you, sort of just like taking in your sort of face and body and everything. It's just like, yeah, I'll confirm it. And looks, well, you, Francis, are supposed to have, well, a meeting with Helena just herself in about an hour about an hour, so about 10. The why I don't know, but she's called upon you for some reason.
Well, I
And you
won't let
don't.
her waiting.
Excellent. And Domhnall, you are to meet also in an hour at the armory here. Supposedly, something needs to be done using your expertise. Now, that's for you two. Those are the primary. For the two of you, since you are all a coterie, well,
Just throw an apologetic glance at the other two for dragging them into this somehow.
Yeah. Well then.
well, I've heard tidbits here and there, and well, if I could get the entire assistance of the coterie on this, I think it would make everybody's lives easier. And rest assured, you will be paid with obviously the gratification of the courts and Alexander himself, and maybe something here and there, depending. Severin, what do you specialize in, if I may ask?
You're not important enough for them to have checked upon you. The shade! The fucking shade!
So rude. Fuck, man. How do I respond to this? Do I just go full on? Nah, that's probably rude.
Do you want to waste the Essentials time in the Dark Ages?
Oh yeah, also, I've been calling them Seneschal, but just for clarification, Seneschal, Chamberlain, same thing. I'm just more used to calling them Seneschal at this point.
Listen, none of them have heard about this Camarilla you speak of. They're all dangerous craft.
Oh god. Like, I look at Bernard and I say, do you wanna know my true passions? Or are you asking about
Don't know face bombs.
something else? Yeah.
I believe the question was more referring to what skills you possess. I believe that you were in making something. Was it mead? Don't remember.
I am quite skilled at making wine, actually.
Yes, wine, of course.
If that's what you're asking about, yes. So if you want
Yes.
to prepare something in that style, I could do that.
I don't get me wrong, obviously, but if I'm not perhaps a wine expert such as you, but wine takes some time, correct?
Yes, this is true.
In that case, there will be ghouls coming in for this festival from various kindred. I suppose something that I can assign is meet the ghoul responsible for maintaining the wine cellar. He'll be somewhere around here, probably near the wine cellar itself. His name should be Roland, I believe.
Okay.
And well, I believe in your expertise. Simply check if everything's up to snuff, of course.
Alright. I shall see about this.
Thank you. And Lady Treblana, I believe, correct?
That is correct. I give him like a look. Like, what the fuck? Why did he send me a letter? He doesn't even know if he's sure about my name, even.
What is your field of specialty?
Give him an emotionless smile and say, death.
As in a killer or in knowledge?
Well, one leads to the other.
Right. So I'm just going to put that you are knowledgeable then. All right. Let me think for a while. And you seem sort of just ponderous, like, okay, what can I do at you now? Well, I don't believe I have any specific thing that would require your field of specialty. If you wish, perhaps you can assist Domhnall here, or if you're familiar with it, help Severin with his duties. Otherwise, well, simply know that whatever help you can provide, if help can be found, obviously, will provide as a necessary benefit to the upcoming festival. Perhaps perusing around for any of the individual staff or anything might lead to one another, but I personally have nothing for you. But
Shit. This is what you get for ignoring status. Shit.
But, in general, since you are all a coterie, besides the, as I mentioned before, the gratification of everybody involved in this festival, there is potentially something, depending on the level of service done. Is there anything any of you are particularly looking as something as a group thing, or anything that could be rewarded for a marvelous deed?
I personally think it would be rather rude to start speaking of rewards before we have done any work.
Excellent. Well then, I suppose then you're all free for the time being. I will be here for any other questions, as I have other individuals that I must speak to. The time is, and he looks over to one of essentially one of those candles. Some of you'd recognize it's one of those candles that like take an hour to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at one of them and is like, well, considering you all have about maybe half an hour since your since the arrived meetings, though I believe everybody would be more grateful if you arrived earlier. That will be it from me. Is there any questions?
Not from me.
Very well then. Have a pleasant night then.
Demi, while he was speaking
too.
with the others, I have been curiously looking around his office, if that's all right. With,
Okay.
you know, short of being rude, but, you know, clearly interested. And I would like to fish for a portent or omen using a certain discipline I have.
Okay. Well, let me explain. Let me first give you a description of the office. The office is a pretty simple room all around, right? It seems much more oriented for work. You have, his desk there, seemingly, his chair, seemingly some chairs prepared for individuals and people coming in. A short little library over here. There is a chimney place, and one sort of a window at the back, sort of behind him, where the desk is. Paper here and there, a little bit of like a cupboard to one side as well. But in general, the room itself isn't obviously, extremely large. It seems to be primarily just for work, essentially.
If he has books in here, it's fucking fancy.
Oh yeah, do you have academics?
I do not. I'm more
Okay.
of a folksy wisdom kind of guy.
All right. Then I mean, you're not blind, but what you can see from the books, some of them obviously have a bit, are much more, at least by the, what's that called? The cover, yes, the sort of cover. That some of them seem to be in, good condition. Some of them seem to be a bit older. Some of them are flipped to the wrong side. It's a shuffle, but there are books here, to be fair, all things considering.
How many? Roughly half a dozen more.
About a dozen, essentially. So there seems to be a collection, though if they're used, they're not. Who knows? So what would you want to use them?
I would like to use Eyes of Chaos on this office to see if I can get any hint of how deeply in shit are we.
All right. So I believe that was a perception occult roll, right?
It's that's in modern ages. In dark ages, it's enigmas.
Ah, thank you. Fucking blessed. So yeah, roll perception. Perception enigmas.
What difficulty?
Roll it based on.
Oh damn, that's 3-9 for 2 9s and a 10. And an 8 through 10.
So 3 successes.
Do
All right.
tens explode in this, or do they?
No.
They just doubles.
Yeah, just doubles as specialties.
Mm-hmm. So not here.
Yeah, the 3 successes. All right. The Eyes of Chaos requires you to be sort of in focus, and if I remember right, takes a little bit of while. But we're gonna go with the sense that you have a moment, essentially, especially with the successes, to sort of quickly go through it. So you sort of feel deep, and you sort of close your eye, blink for 1 second, right? But it feels like an eternity.
Fuck.
As you sort of open them again, that void that was sort of the blackness that was there, sort of goes away a bit as you see a cube, essentially. A cube that's being held up by an arm, and you can see that the arm is sort of rotating it slowly, gently, sometimes playing with it, going around, but it's there. And the arm doesn't feel, it feels almost like you can see that the arm is sort of just like this white sort of figuration of an arm. It doesn't feel, real. But the cube itself seems to be made out of stone and materials here and there, and as it's just being played around. And there is a point where eventually, as the plane comes around, slowly, surely, a crack appears in one place. And you notice this. And as it goes on, another one appears. Slowly, slightly. It keeps on going, here and there, bits and pieces, until eventually the entire structure ends up being full of cracks, but still holding. You're not sure how. The arm seems to be playing ever faster, ever more playful with the cube rather, until eventually it finally just clicks it.
Fuck, we need to get out of this city. I know what this means. I can see the reality under this pale fucking flesh. So, yeah, when we exit the room, Dumdum is gonna be, probably distracted and not doing his usual flourishes, and, he has a look on his face like, really wooden and unexpressive, which is probably, very uncharacteristic for him.
Well, wits alertness to notice this or something. I don't know.
I think we'd have spent enough time that you would know that this isn't normal if you glance at my face. Especially at court.
Ah, shit. It's my cave. It's a Macavian. he McCabe moment. We need to get him out of here. And she's
No,
probably
no,
not here.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm
No,
sane, honest.
no, I mean like shit might be about to hit the fan, or something came up.
Lamau.
I'll
But,
tell you
yeah.
tomorrow night.
So, um, let's start with craft.
Alright, I'm supposed to go to the wine cellar and meet.
Yeah, it asking around. There's a plenty of servants. You can notice some of them seem to be actual ghouls. Some of them seem to just be random like maids and like whatnot, cleaning, doing stuff, bringing stuff around. And it doesn't take you long until you ask around and find where the wine cellar is. But the castle is big and stuff, so it takes you about still another maybe 15 to 20 minutes going around asking and finding eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And you get led to a man eventually that's seemingly slightly burly, more wide than high. He's not super tall, maybe 170, 165, so pretty. Seems to have a bit of muscle on him.
That's pretty tall for the Dark Ages, Demi. People were shorter in the Middle Ages because they were underfed as fuck.
Boy,
He's probably more like 150, dude, if he's gonna be short.
boy, boy.
He's a hobbit, Debbie. Just call him a halfling.
Sure. Let's go at 150 then. Fuckers with their heights. So 150, 155. He seems to be burly. Sort of has this more of an apron sort of deal that's sort of stained, and his face seems to be he's bald, with maybe a little, and sort of has this small little beard that's not terribly long but just works, and a stained apron at his front. And as you approach, he's recognizing sort of your stature and seemingly knowing. He sort of just bows to you.
Oh, Gerard. What was his name? Gerald? Fuck.
Roland.
Roland.
Roland, my lord.
Ah.
How may the servant help you?
He dared to correct you, Kraft. You have to eat him now for honor.
No, I'm not that kind of asshole, sorry. Are you in charge of the wine cellars?
I am.
Not anymore, bitch.
I happen to be an expert in this area, and I am here to pick out some things for an upcoming festival. Or feast.
I understand, my lord, but the royal wine cellar is under strict jurisdiction.
Bernard sent me.
Lord Bernard did.
Yes.
Very well. Let me, if you may have the patience of 5 to 10 minutes, just for me just to get the key from, if that is all right.
All right.
All right. And he simply kind of like frazzily goes like speed walks towards sort of a room that's pretty nearby to the left. And about maybe just 5 minutes pass when he comes back.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the key, and he unlocks it. And he opens the door, and it is already it's kind of dark. It's dark down there.
Yeah, that makes sense. It has to be like old and shit too.
Yeah, definitely. And he asks, "Would you require light, my lord?"
Yeah, I mean, yes, it makes it easier. Do you have a torch or something? Would you want to follow? You know
Very
this
well.
better than me, or you know the cellar better than me. You can show me where I need to go.
Very well.
Actually,
And he takes one of the lanterns that were sort of there, standing already.
yeah.
It doesn't produce a lot of smoke, and just sort of lights it up, and it's like, watch your step, my lord. And he sort of leads you down, and it doesn't go terribly deep, just a few steps down, but you can already see essentially just as you sort of pass the stone walls that are sort of creating this peninsula, that in front of you, you already see, caskets, and you see sort of very simple bottles and containing, and you see it's a in going around showing around, it's a decently large wine cellar actually. Uh, I mean,
Uh-huh.
compared to your lord, might be around the same actually, though. Is that because it might be your lord, or you don't know, but
Yeah.
this has a fine collection of various supposed wines.
Yeah, this is probably like it's the same size, but it's probably more fancy than whatever my lord has. I don't know. We shall see. Do I have to
Uh,
like? Yeah.
he so to speaks. Most of the caskets and the like have labels upon them from where they arrived and the year they were produced in. Though I can show you where we keep the um, the more quality wine.
I mean, thinking about the kind of feast there, like thinking to myself, the kind of feast that he's gonna be having, it's gonna be for the ghouls, but
Mhm.
they're probably like ghouls of important people, right?
You're not exactly sure, but you were mostly just told that there's going to be a plethora of ghouls, essentially.
Could
Uh huh.
also be some herd that is being fed wine so vampires can nom on them.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Let's check the quality first, and then after I see the quality of the wine in this cellar, I can probably decide
Craft.
better.
Craft.
Yeah.
This is your chance to get back for his impertinence, and you have to take it. Swish it around in your mouth and spit it in his face every time. It's the right thing to do, you know this.
We can't waste this good wine. Open your mouth. Excuse me.
Burn him!
So yeah. So my question is, how will you go about exactly, checking the quality for the wine? Will you be tasting it, or just looking at it, or seeing where it's coming from, or stuff like that?
I mean, is it in caskets or like bottles?
There's a combo
Probably
of
cat.
there's a combo, and most of them have already been outfitted. Besides, obviously, corks and the like, that you can actually get some to actually taste.
Oh, okay then.
Isn't that
Uh,
bad for wine? You
I
can't
don't
let
know.
it breathe for too long, I think. Can you? Sounds
yeah,
like
no,
something they
exactly.
shouldn't
You're
be
not
able
supposed
to.
to let it breathe. Like maybe
Yeah,
they have some kind of app or something. I don't know. If it's caskets, it's easy. It's probably harder to like try it without opening it up the barrel.
yeah, basically.
But
My
having
idea
it
simply is that my idea is sort of going simply with the whole bottle thing, where there's a place where you can open it, but it's usually fucking shut lid essentially. I don't know. I'm not that fucking expertise in life. I don't do crossword puzzles for a
I
living.
mean, he can still do like a random check of like, to see if the, vendor fucked the castle, but
yeah,
he can check every single barrel probably.
yeah, no, I
Nah,
probably can't
there's
taste that.
good enough. But just looking around, at least by the labels, there's a difference obviously in years and stuff. But some of them come from the same places and the like. So, with the exception of year, they should all be maybe relatively the same taste depending on the area where they come
But
from.
like, what kind of regions are we talking about here? Could be everything. Like
Oh yeah.
depends. We
Kraft
go
has
in there and
probably
suddenly I
googled a
find
list of
gold.
years.
There's you see that's he points out that some of them which at least he notes as being slightly lower quality seem to be arriving from sort of like northern parts of France still, like where they're barely where the climate is fully like where for winemaking.
Uh huh.
um, the more quality ones seem to be from the very south, and some even imported from Italy. There are some that even come from Spain. So there's a good variety. Even like parts of uh, very like not really like to the Alps, but lower Germany, where there's still enough heat where they can actually grow properly.
Will I accidentally find some of my own wine here?
Um, you look around. Give me a give me a perception alertness for this, I suppose, because you're looking, or perception investigation rather, because you're going through all of them little by little.
All right. Perception, investigation, difficulty 6.
Yeah, difficulty 6. Actually, no, give it a difficulty 5 because you are also being slightly led.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, 2 successes. Don't worry. You go around and you find at least like 4 bottles. It's not an entire casket. 4 bottles, and you're looking, and it's like from and you just sort of domain, Severin Levet, year produced. You look at the years. One of them seems to be about 50 years back. One of them seems to be maybe about 68. They're variety, but yeah, you actually see some from essentially the Lord's estate, either as gifts or grown. Who knows?
All right. I'll ask the ghoul if he. Wait. For my own. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. Okay. This perception investigation was just to find myself.
Just to find your own wine, yeah. If you want to go all around, if you're, how do you, as I said, how do you want to go about them? Do you want to test some varieties, or do you want to just sort of, how do you want to go about exactly perceiving all this?
I mean, how good? I can ask the ghoul like, how well does he know the wine in the cellar? Like,
Yeah,
he's just in charge of like opening the door.
Yeah, no, he's there as well as knowledgeable folk, and that's why he also can like essentially helps you sort of determines. That's why he told you like what he deems and like what is supposedly said about the higher quality ones. And you know what? For the sake of this, you'll give me 2 rolls essentially for it, just to confirm this.
All right.
One's gonna be perception crafts, sort of getting those the taste of the wine really. And the other one, give me a intelligence academics, essentially.
All right. The difficulty.
Difficulty 6.
All right. The first one is the perception crafts.
All right. And the
And
other
the
one?
second one in the intelligence academics. God bless.
All right. Nice. You go around tasting some of them. Some taste fantastic, especially the Italian ones. Some taste a little bit more sort of bitter.
Uh-huh.
And combining with your knowledge, you're like, okay, I know this one's going to be good. I'm going to have a taste just to make sure again. Oh yeah, that hits the spot. This is going on the menu, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling all of this to Roland, and he sort of frankly just like looking around. It's like, oh fuck. 1 second, my lord, and he goes out for just 1 second, comes back, seems to have a little bit of a parchment ink, puts the lantern down, has to sort of awkwardly sit somewhere, and he's like writing down very, very smudgily what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And you select a fine addition, though you do find one essentially brand coming from imported from Genoa. Yeah, you do know that some of the outskirts of Genoa can produce wine, but you know that most of that is imported from other areas. So, but you find this one, and it's like, oh yeah, this one hits just right. It has a nice hit at the first, at the start, really sweet, a little bit subtle, but you can feel still that explosion. Also, yes, craft. But there's no real hard aftertaste. It goes down smooth, and it's nice. It really is nice. And you decide, you know what? Let's put that as the star, and then you can diversify where you have some of the obviously the lower quality wine is in a bit more abundance, and you think, okay, this one can be going for certain individuals. This one is reserved for the ones that need a little bit more and stuff like that.
All right. Good. I mean, did he even tell me how much wine I was looking to get?
No, he didn't tell any exact number.
All right then.
So you kind of have to go on a whim, but if you do know that there's enough wine here to probably have a
I mean, I'll just make like a long list about like this is what you want if you want. This is what you serve to the, highest.
Yeah,
But
but
And then
there
Timmy,
does.
Timmy,
like
but is there enough that once we capture a live werewolf, we could slowly poison it to death with alcohol by shoving it all down his throat?
There is. Don't worry. There's a lot of wine here,
is this
and
very big man?
yeah, and you think that if this was a very long party, it probably will eventually run out, but it can probably sustain a party that's maybe about 4 to 7 weeks, depending on how heavy the drinkers are or how many people there are.
All right.
Lower amount 4 days if we're going like 100 people, maybe more. 7 days if it goes like more people.
Vampire blood
But in
and
general-
fortitude offers many abilities some might consider unnatural.
But in general, this will take you going through all of this, working, blah blah. Will take you maybe about 2 to 3 hours, essentially.
Yeah,
going
makes sense.
actively going through everything. Next, let's do Francis.
After we're finished, I ask him for a bucket.
Oh, to puke him too. Wow, that's rude.
Nexi,
what-
you're a genius for getting in the wine business.
This is how you can drink even more.
Anyways. Whew. So, going to Francis. So, you eventually meet up and go to the location. Do you go exactly on time? Do you go a bit earlier?
A bit earlier, like a quarter of an hour earlier or so.
All right. Fuck it. Roll me a 1d10.
Uh-oh, you're about
Not
to
that-
overhear
not-
something.
Not the death die. Okay, so an 8. You're able to actually arrive seemingly first. You go to the area that was told to you, which is essentially sort of this large. You can see like there's training equipment there. Like wooden swords, some dummies that are inside, but it seems to be empty. But they're spacious, and you get there, and it's like, I'm alone here. Okay, but maybe about 5 minutes pass, maybe a little bit less, when you see another individual come in. A female has a nice little female hair to about
Does she have
sort
a
of like
sheet?
huh.
Does she have a sheet?
Good question. So she has shoulder length sort of hair, curvy, sort of a blonde, sort of a dark brown eyes, nice features. She's definitely a pretty woman, and comes in, and she's in this like small little, simple but still elegant like dress that's sort of I fucking hate you. That's sort of blue and grayish. And she comes in, it's like, sort of bows to you. How do you do? Am I in the right place?
So is she someone important? Do I recognize her?
No, you haven't met her before.
She's a nobody. Jump her and eat her.
Oof. But what does she smell like?
How does she smell like? Okay, how
Fucking degenerate.
close
What
are
the
you
fuck?
getting to her?
Go smells her.
What
the fuck?
I also makes it discreetly sniff.
Okay. How many levels of Auspex do you have?
Like 3.
Okay. You activate Auspex and you inconspicuously just. Oh yeah. And
Please don't get the code 3.
no, she has this very very sort of it's not a very powerful smell. It's slightly neutral, but there's this hint of like sweetness. Either that being, oh fuck, now I don't know what people use this fucking anything. Juniper berries? I don't fucking know. No, yeah, juniper berries. It smells mostly neutral, but it has a small hint of.
Lilac and gooseberries, they
Some-
made.
Anyways, but she doesn't, smell of body odor. Not that she really can at this point, but she's not foul, essentially. That's what you're asking.
Okay, I'll say that I'm not sure if she's right here. I'm waiting for.
Oh yeah,
I forgot the name.
she entered the room and she essentially asked you, "Is this the right place?"
The red place for what?
Well,
Madame.
of course. Excuse myself. My name is Lady Margarita. Um, yeah, it's an actual name. Um, I believe I'm supposed to meet her royalness, Queen Helen the Just.
We're waiting for the same person then.
Oh my fucking god, it's gonna be like higher up walks in. Now kiss.
I wonder how the chest smells like.
Why do you like this?
Okay, so but anyways, she goes like, "Oh, perfect then. I believe we're waiting. I believe I'm in the right place now. Um, I must say, my dear gentleman, you are quite exquisite tonight. I believe I've seen you before, but do you mind reminding me of your name, please?"
Oh my god, she's like your evil twin or something.
I'm Francis. Francois, the Fagnon.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure indeed.
Do you perhaps have any idea of what we're being asked for?
Well, I was under the impression it might have to do with the tragic vanishing of one of the guards.
I have now people talking in the back. Help me, God.
Why are you sharing information for free, you degenerate? Payment first, bitch!
I'm gonna have to get my microphone a little bit closer just so my voice is stronger than the background. I excuse myself for this, guys. Quality stream so far. Yes, I do believe I overheard somebody speak of that. A tragedy, really. And as she sort of wants to continue again, somebody else enters the room, and you see uh, a gentleman, essentially, sort of slicked back hair a little bit, sort of almost like forced with something, but well dressed, slender, and a little bit tall, comes in and sees you two, bows. Um, good evening. Is
Good evening.
is this the waiting area for her lady Helen the Just?
Join us in waiting.
Thank you. My name is Augustine. May I have the pleasure of knowing your names?
Should I say my name? I'm not gonna say the full name every time. Some an unimportant bastard side character walks in.
God bless.
I mean, if you don't ask him to like, do you know? Like, if you don't tell him if he knows the guy or not, he's gonna assume they're unimportant bastards, all of them.
I mean, yeah, that's basically how this goes, doesn't it? But you have essentially a conversation, and about maybe three more people eventually come in, and it basically kind of rinse and repeats. Hi, is this the right place? Okay. Hi, this is my name. Introductions. It's very bland, very goes white. Everybody seems to be mostly silent, and the room, it's not like it has a lot of tension in it, but it's more of people aren't really sure why they're here. It's a bit more of a confused tension, let's say. And eventually, um, you see like one of the main doors, like on the opposite side of the training room, sort of open wide, and you can see two sort of just guards of the in the castle just open a door, and a magnificent figure passes through. You can already see essentially that there's a feel of power, a feel of importance, both in beauty, both in personality, both in everything. Simply pass through this door, elegantly walking, like modern day model, essentially.
So do
And
I have to roll self-control?
um, what your weakness specifically? Sure, roll me a self control at 5, essentially. And I'm just gonna do something as well. Blessed.
Demi pulls out a shotgun.
You look upon this, and something in you stirs. Something in the sort of the both first in your heart, it's sort of like going into your mind, and you look upon this figure, and it's
Oh yes, something stirs, alright.
God damn, yeah, my queen. That's all you can really think about.
Time to
And
drink some bath water, Nyaxi.
and you're just sort of like essentially not really love struck, but that sort of effect essentially as you're looking about, and you don't even really notice for too much, but eventually that figure slowly but surely approaches the group and addresses you all, and you can see her even though like you're love struck. She seems to be a bit what's it called, a little bit not really annoyed, but just damn it, not again. And eventually she sort of just sort of come back, come back, come back. And as you sort of take a while to sort of notice as the elegant motion kind of goes away with this,
Well, Demi
and
is yelling at the family. I would like to quickly interject as well.
go.
The Emperor just gave out 8 subs in the chat. Thank you, Emperor.
Holy shit! What the fuck,
You know,
bro?
maybe if Debbie is such a good order, I'll have to stop beating him.
And as you snap out of it, essentially, as she loses that elegance, that sort of emotion, as she goes, to a bit more of a peasant sort of deal, you sort of snap out. You look to your right, you look to your left, and it seems you weren't the only person. And it's like, okay,
How close is she?
she's maybe about 5, 6 meters away from like the entire group, as everybody sort of made a nice little like half circle, essentially, like almost instinctively. Who
Just
would have
ask
guessed?
directly if you're close enough to sniff her feet with aspects.
It was my intention, but I don't say it directly.
Are you activating aspects for this? Choose carefully.
I think you already had it on. Did you ever turn it off?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna ignore the fact that you sniffed like 6 people entering, but sure, let's sniff Helen LeJust. Unlike the rabble around you, you get that whiff in, and oh boy, there's something there. That's something special. It's almost as if she bathed in extremely fruity and aromatic herbs and lavender. It's just, oh, that hits. That's nice.
That's your
Damn.
opening. Asked for the bathwater. Now's the time.
God fucking bless. And as you get that whiff in, you're like, oh yeah, this is just a whole nother league from everybody else here, even yourself included. And she looks at everybody and simply presents, I welcome all of you on this fine night here in our castle. My name is Helen LeJust, and in this next week, we're all going to be quite close acquaintances, I believe.
Oh fuck, it's a bachelor show!
It's time to pick out the new Rosette, and you're part of the game, Chris.
Now, all of you must be questioning on why you are here at this time of night in our castle. Well, quite simple. As some of you have or may not have heard, we will be organizing a grand party and a festival after that. That will include the opening ceremony of such for a tragic passing of our previous Rosette. Now, why I require all of you is obviously to make a very luxurious and very eye-opening opening. So, I've brought the most beautiful individuals that I can find currently, besides myself and my sire and the like, to help with this endeavor. Now, looks are one thing, obviously, but the next thing that will need to be presented is etiquette, the ability to dance, the ability to present themselves in a proper way, both befitting a gentleman and befitting a lady. If the criteria is met, then we can go on to the next stage, picking out an outfit. Now, I'd recommend all of you to do your best and, well, show what you can have. Now, I just went with Rosette, please. And since this will be a very specific choosing, I will require all of you to please enter one by one. So, if let's go with you. And she points to certain to the gentleman that came in like first. Slender looking up there. It's like, you can stay. The rest of you, if you could please evacuate the vicinity for the time being, just outside the door, please.
Oh my god, is he ascending to Alpha Simp?
And yeah, do you go out or?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So you get escorted aside. Everybody sort of gets into that little gossip girl a little bit as like, oh my, paraphrasing by the way. Oh my god, have you seen her? She's like so perfect. My god, stuff like that. Essentially, it's gossiping, but in a much more elegant way. Do you still have Auspex activated?
No,
Okay,
I don't wanna be impolite to her.
very well. Maybe about 5-10 minutes later, the door opens and the gentleman comes out, and you didn't really hear anything as everybody else was sort of conversing outside. And as he comes out, everybody sort of just stands still until the door closes, and it's like, and he just looks as everybody's like, "Be careful inside," as he sort of just turns left and starts leaving. And everybody's sort of just like, okay, what the hell just happened? And it goes one by one. A guard opens the door. Somebody comes in. Somebody comes out. Eventually, there's a point where somebody doesn't come out, and a guard just opens the door and comes next. And it's like, okay, you can quickly gather that some people have already passed, some people have already failed, and eventually it comes to you. And the guard opens the door and says, "Sir Francis."
Very well.
And as you step through, he closed the door. And you can see Helen just standing there in the middle, politely sort of standing, just waiting at you expectantly.
I'll just make my, my most accomplished courtly bow.
All right. Just so you can have a guidance, give me an appearance etiquette roll, because a lot of this will be obviously looking good.
I'll spend a point of
Go for it.
Holy shit. I mean, when you have a lot of dice, you can fail spectacularly, okay?
Demi,
Just
you
look at
son of a
the
bitch,
die
I
roll.
figured it out. Helen, you even kept the name, you bastard!
4 successes, you say, Nyaxi. Very well. You go through, and there's still a tinge of nervousness between you, but you resolve yourself. You're like, no, I can't get this to hit me right here, and you proceed forward. You bow. She tells you, please approach, and you elegantly walk over there. You know, back straightened up, precise movement, just going confidently. Sure, you go up there confidently. And by etiquette, you stand a distance away from the lady, bow again, and present yourself. Very elegant. Very elegant, very gracious, and a good face to support it all. Very well. Now, the next thing I'd like to require you is a dance, actually. And she puts a hand forward.
Very well, my queen.
She takes a small little smile to that. And time to show off your dance skills. How do you dance, actually? Like, what's your main focus on when you're dancing?
Well, I'm not a expert for medieval dance styles.
It's time.
He just grabs her by the arm and twirls her around in a circle. You know, like peasants do at harvest.
You take the arm and starts like spinning in a circle. And
Mm.
folk tradition in the dancing.
But yeah, sure. Give me a dexterity performance roll at 6.
Okay, I'll buff my dexterity to 7.
Sure.
Oh shit, I forgot my blood. Do I start at full blood pool? By the way.
Also, just to note, you are being the male in this case. You are leading, so
Yeah.
you're the guy.
Should I spend another willpower? I'm probably not. It's probably fine. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Do you have any specialties?
Dancing and precise.
Dancing would apply, so that's 5 successes. All right. It's not a long dance, and it's a little bit awkward without music, right? You have to sort of, you don't really have a rhythm right now. Like, you don't fall into tune of music. But your expertise and the little blood that you riled up inside of you, you take her hand as graciously as possible and as softly as possible, sort of embrace her in that, dancely method, in a dance. And the dance goes on for maybe about 3-4 minutes. It's a very simple dance. The whole take together, going in a circle, going in a circle, going in a circle. And you can notice on her, she's following your steps almost perfectly, being extremely elegant, but you're not letting down. You're like, I got this, I got this. And she looks entertained throughout all of this. And eventually, as you feel like as if you've done enough, it's like, okay, let's do a little bit of let's do a little bit something spicy. And you do a whole little move, essentially. You spin her around, and she gracefully takes it. And at the end of it, she sort of you just release the hand. It's like, very good dance moves, I must say, Sir Francis. You're an excellent lead. Has anybody told you that before?
Thank you, my lady.
Of course. Anything for somebody so skilled in the ways of dancing. There is, however, one more thing that I require of you to present. And that is the ability to entertain our guests. And don't take this wrong, I know many have before. I mean, with the power of your smooth voice, hopefully. Now, many clans will come here, and knowing how to deal with some of those clans is also a very important part. But for the time being, please present yourself introduce yourself, your lineage, who you are, what you've done, in the most graceful way to a toreador you can.
Oof. I don't even know my lineage.
We can just skip that, or just like you can make something on the fly. But she waits there expectantly.
Okay, 1 second. I'll quickly find
Yeah,
out.
quickly genealogy. Yeah, no problem. Oh, I got you, fam. Also, yes, I've never really danced. My dancing sucks.
There you go, genealogy Toreador.
You're low on gen. It doesn't take you that hard to go back to fucking, you know, third gen, right?
No, I mean I'm 7th, so
Yeah, you only have like 3 people to go through. Or 4.
Sixth, fifth, fourth, third. Technically four.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean but 3 is always
But is one of them
so
Helen?
sure, yeah, I
Bruh.
can do an exact line, but yeah, there's a lot
Helen
of
of
Princess
Troy.
of Paris in this list.
Yeah, those come after shenanigans occur.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean after the 4th, it's not really important who you have in your line, so
Basically. So just go down to the fourth if you can think of somebody or found somebody.
sure, I'll go with Helena of Troy.
So you, sure. Now,
And I'm of
Yaxi.
course Francis Francois de Fagnon.
Yeah, Yaxi.
Yes.
I want you to present yourself. Go from the start.
But okay, I strike a pose like a true the kid. Let's skip that. I am Francis Francois de Fagnon of Clan Toreador, and then I, you know, list my lineage
Sure.
and they say pleased to meet you.
She takes her dress, bows a bit. Just for the sake, roll charisma expression, I'd like to say. Or expression or etiquette, whichever is higher.
Okay. Too bad you can't buff Charisma with blood. Spend a little
can't.
PowerPoint.
Why are you like this?
And my specialties are eloquent and courtly manners.
Yeah, that
8
that,
successes.
that applies. She sort of bows. With she lifts up her dress. She, what is that even called? Where she goes, yeah, like
A
sure, let's
curtsy.
go with that. Curtsy?
Yep.
Yes, thank you. It says short, but very elegant. Something quite expected, actually, of Helen's lineage. Interesting. I must say, you've impressed me. Sir Francis, how would you like to be part of the main hosts of the upcoming party?
Oh,
You
I'd
have the
like it
talent.
very much.
I don't doubt it. Some have already come through this door, and some of those have left through that very door as well. But you, Francis, have a courtesy right now. A courtesy to go through that door. And she sort of very slightly goes, looks to the right. You look to the left, and it's like you see another door there. You saw that door, before, but it was just like a side door. It wasn't really important.
That's where
She
the
says-
larder is.
And she says, I look forward to meeting you tomorrow night, same time. There's much to rehearse and much to learn before the party. You do have the talent, you do have the skill, but refining those is also something quite important.
Very well, my queen.
Smile.
Why? Why?
She's my queen. That's
My
why.
queen. I mean, yeah, she's the queen.
Is this a betrayal of Helen of Troy?
Huh. So yeah, you step through that door, and it just kind of leads to a long hallway. And eventually, at the end of the hallway, you're sort of you open it one more door, and there is actually inside the other people that you've noticed go in, but didn't come out that door. So seemingly the people that have passed just like you, and they seem to just be sitting, chatting, as there seems to be some servants going around offering them some blood to drink. And you can, yeah. What would you like to do? There also seems to be, a few guards here and there, and just a lot of servants, and there seems to be about three of them that are sort of just sitting around for the time being. One female, actually no, two females and one male.
I see. Well,
Got
I
it.
join them for a bit at least and see what they're chatting about.
Most of the chatter is about how like especially when you approve, it's like how did you do, right? It's imagine that sort of when you finish a test and all of your friends come over, it's like, yo, what was question A? It's like, what did she tell you to do, right? And it's pretty bland altogether. The people here do have a personality, but they don't seem to be expressing it that much. Seemingly not sure of if there's still a test going on or anything. They're kind of staying as posed and reserved as graciously possible. Essentially, it doesn't take much essentially, and it's only maybe only about 15-20 minutes later. Nobody else seems to be coming through that door, and eventually a guard comes in. It's like sort of bows to you. I've been notified by Helen that the test has been finished. All of you may return to Haven now, and uh, and you can see him being still a bit nervous, not seeing how to react to all of you, just sort of looking towards him in like a very elegant manner. It's like she expresses that she hopes that the blood given this night is to your satisfaction, and he sort of just bows and keeps the door open, essentially.
Mm-hmm. So we get to leave now.
Mm-hmm. So, do you? Or do you stay for more?
Ain't other servants around that look like they might be serving the queen?
Hard to say specifically. These seem to be the servants here. There seems to be like three servants going around too. It doesn't take much even with aspects and just like noticing who they are, but them knowing about you and things, they're most likely ghouls.
Okay, does anyone of them smell faintly like the queen?
Um, roll me a perception empathy. Fuck it, let's see.
Okay. At 6 or at a higher difficulty?
6. Yeah,
Attentive is my specialty.
attentive would apply. Um, you look at the passage. They seem to have a very like a smile, but you can see that they're. Oh my fucking god! So you can feel essentially that they're slightly forced. You can feel a little. There's a little bit of you know, repressiveness. Like just you have to present themselves, right? Which is entirely expected from these servants and the ghouls. But none of them obviously shine even closely to Helen herself. And yeah, eventually you're able to leave and go back. There's night's still young, relatively, and but we're gonna skip. We're gonna go to Chris now. Chris is gonna have something exciting as well now. Are you ready, Chris? Are you done typing in Twitch chat?
Yes, I was trying to add Fuckboy de Valois as a degeneracy emote.
How is that? What is that emote even? What is that picture? No. What is the picture actually?
De Valois from Rogue Trader.
Yeah. But did you put his picture on it
Yeah.
or what? Oh my God. God bless.
I don't know if it worked, but I can see it in the list, but I might not count as a sub here.
You might. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
I thought the one is always counted as a sub.
Yeah, you are a sub to yourself, dude.
I think
Are you
so.
though?
Yeah.
Do you pay
count
yourself
as a-
money?
No, you just get one for free because.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you have to wait until they approve the emote or something.
Yeah.
it could be. Oh no! Twitch ban coming. Anyways, so Mr. Domino over here, you have about half an hour. Do you do anything before that, or do you head towards the armory?
Do I know where the party would most likely happen?
You would presume here somewhere in
Okay.
this castle.
Then, if I don't know specifically, I'm just gonna go to the courtyard. I assume the armory is not too far off the courtyard. And just keep an eye out, just look around with an eye out for likely sniper spots in case the guests are allowed in the courtyard.
Sure. Roll me. Give me an intelligence archery roll.
Alright.
Let's see if you can find them spots. All right, 3 successes, nice. I mean, the first thing that you obviously know is there's small little towers and windows, and like yeah, you can shoot through that definitely. But you didn't take then you take a little bit of a look, and it's like, okay, if I can get on that part of the roof, oh yeah, I'd have the view there and I'd have the range. You have the high ground on that point.
This is where I would go.
Mm. And you find some of those spots littered around. Those do require. Though you do see that they do require a little bit of finagling to get to, but they're good spots.
Okay.
And yeah, you ask around, and yeah, one person in the courtyard just essentially points you to the armory, and you arrive there. By the time you take all of that, you sort of arrive and you see 3 individuals. Roll me an intelligence politics roll at difficulty 5, actually.
I don't have politics.
Fuck it. Then go with alertness. Then this would be on the memory base then.
Okay.
At let's go with difficulty 6 then. Okay, 1 success. You go there and you see 3 individuals. One sort of standing there has sort of lightly armored. Another one has sword, shield ready. Another one has a bow at the ready, and the one that's not really carrying anything. Actually, no, never mind. The one that's carrying actually the bow. You could swear that you've seen him before. But you're not sure. How perceptive are you actually, if I may ask?
I have normally 7 dice in perception alertness.
Yeah, you sort of look at him in his face and it doesn't take much, but then eventually, you don't take this as granted. You don't look at this position, first thing, but you notice that besides having a cape that's like yours, pretty long, it's actually a bit shorter. You do realize that there's something actually pinned here. You look at it. You remember from seeing it around when you've been to Elysium things. That's actually the pin for what's it called? The pin for the rosettes actually. Also, I fucked up while talking to Nyaxi. Let me just do this so you guys can have this. Hi guys, it's Helen here, and
It's a girl, Helen of Troy.
it's your girl, and yeah. Also, God bless Google Images. I think all of us are gonna recognize this picture because we found it multiple times on the internet so far. Hi guys, it's ya boy.
Oh, that's
And you,
disgusting.
yep. And you sort of look at him. It's like, okay, this is one of the rosettes. Okay then. And he sort of looks at you. Comes in. It's like, who are you?
Domhnall.
Oh, okay, you're Donald then.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, heard you were good with a bow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
There's
got
good
one?
sniper spots up there. You'll want to watch those.
All right. Told you he's good. Anyways, you got a bow already?
Not with me.
At your haven?
Well, yeah, I was summoned to, talk with Seneschal. Figured I wouldn't come heavily armed.
Fair enough. We have the time to go back, though if you're too lazy to, we can give you a bow real quick.
Depends on what I need to do.
Well. Well, we have to exterminate some bears. Pretty simple.
Why?
Well, to be honest, I keep them alive and all things. I haven't heard reports of them harming anybody, but presumably, at least for the preparation of this party, and what I've been told to is, well, since some people are going to be in the outskirts and the villages and the like, it would be really bad if one of them got killed by a bear. So, they're sending us to deal with it. I'm just following the orders this time around.
Okay, fair enough. I'd rather do this with my own bow then.
Yeah. Though, so yeah, let me, by the way, just a note, I know of you, and, before we introduce each other, I know you. Don't worry, but, just, keep calm for the time being. I'm Moilius. I'm one of the Rosettes. Clan Gangrel.
I
This over
twitch.
here. This over here is Lambert. He's Clan Bruja. So we have some
No,
firepower
not.
between the two of us. And over here, let me get my fucking name list so I can get that again. I love name list. This over here is Volo. He's also playing Gangrel.
Why the fuck are you showing them my picture, you degenerate?
What?
Yeah, you opened his sheet for all of us.
What the fuck? I didn't click on it though.
Hmm?
Whoa, whack. What the fuck?
Can you try
Okay.
being less bad?
Yes. And sort of Volo just looks at him, is like, wait a second, you know him? It's like, yeah, Domhnall. You're Malkavian, right? Irish? That's the deal?
Well, half Malkavian. I'm not crazy like the others.
Right. And at that moment, it's like Volo just looks at him, it's like takes a look into you, and it's like looks at your hair, looks at you, realizes you're Malkavian. It's like, that's that fucker, isn't it? And he just looks at over here. It's like, we can't work with him. It's like, shut it. I know. Hold up. We have to. You can deal with this stuff later. So,
We're
and
not gonna have like an issue out there, right?
we're gonna be splitting in squads of two. I think two people, you and Lambert over here, should be capable of dealing with a bear. Just don't get into its face that close unless you are good at close. But no, we won't have issues. I'll guarantee you that.
Okay, then I have no problem with you.
All right then. So we got a few villages. So let me get the plan. Then he comes says, "Come over here," and he just looks at Volan's like, sort of just gives him the eyes like, "Don't you try shit, bitch." And he puts up open the map essentially, and he looks. Okay, so we're here. Wait, can you read a map? Can anyone read a map? And the Bruja goes, "Yeah, yeah." The Gangrel just looks and it's like, just looks confused. Do you know how to read map? Do you have academics? Yeah, you don't have academics, right?
I don't have academics. I have enough survival that if they describe what that looks from the ground level, I can probably figure it out.
Yeah, okay. Right, so we're here, and this is Paris. We have 3 villages over here and 4 villages over here on the left. We're splitting them in half over here, just like the Seine River. So, me and Volo here are going to be taking the left side. We're going to go clear, go around the villages, take a looking around, and just clear out whatever bear fucking thing we can find. You and Lambert, you take the right. Now, they're saying bears, but that's mostly because they have no idea what they're talking about. So things like bears, wolves, and the like. If you see something that's potentially a bit too close to the villages, deal with it. That good? The other two nod.
Wait. So, this is to make sure the guests are safe, right?
Basically.
So are these like wild animals or are they something extra?
Well, from what I know, they're supposed to be wild. If anybody tampered with any of them, that I don't know. But shouldn't be the problem. Just extremely wild.
Okay.
Better yet, though, as much as I hate it, if you can somehow make it run away from its place, make it move somewhere further away, that'd probably be better. But up to you how you want to deal with it. We have our mission.
Lambert, how are you at moving silently through the wild?
He sort of just sort of scratches back the head and it's like, well, I mean, I've mostly fought things. I'm pretty nimble, so I think I can do it a little bit.
Oh, great. Hey, virgin.
What's that supposed to mean?
Haven't been in the woods a lot, have you?
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. You need to watch where you step really carefully, and you have to keep your eyes on a swivel so you see what's around you. And I'm just gonna start giving him like a quick rundown of how to watch for like dry twigs, etc., leaves, so he doesn't completely fuck it up.
Yeah. Being focused a little bit on, I'm though you're perceptive enough to know, it's like the two Moilis and Volo over here just sort of look at each other and it's like, they've got it, let's go. And they sort of, you can notice them essentially leaving a bit earlier. They didn't tell you a date time, so this is out of character. Just deal with it before the party, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you explain to Lambert, and Lambert's just going like, okay. So I know how to use a bow. So are you telling? So, I mean, I'm strong. I mean, I know potence and celerity. So, I think I can handle a bear. If he comes in front of me.
Okay, so this is how hunting usually works, especially for big game like this. You generally have 2 approaches, right?
Right.
You can either shoot it from a distance and try and make sure it never gets to you, or generally you have something like a boar spear and you try to skewer it as it charges at you. If it gets close and past your spear or whatever other weapon you have, it's generally ouchie time. We don't want that, usually. So unless you're really tough and good at taking punishment, I'd rather we snuck up on the fuckers and just shot them.
Alright. Well, I usually use a sword and shield. Don't go into the wilderness, as you can see. Sure. I'll take a spear, take a bow. How many arrows should I get?
Like 20. we'll recover the ones we use that are recoverable.
All right.
Should
all
probably
right, all
be
right.
enough.
All right. And you can see him sort of just going. It's like, all right. So which one of the you see is like an assortment of spears. You know, you got like long ones. You got like a lot shorter ones. You know, normal ones. Some thicker ones. One that seem to be javelin sort of deals. Like, so looking at this, the longer the better, right?
I'm gonna, give him a spear of appropriate length for people who are stupid enough to get that close to wild animals, so he has a chance to actually hit it after the first charge if he somehow misses.
All right. All right. I'm readied up. So,
Okay, how about you meet me at the edge of town at this road, and I'll go get my bow. We'll meet up in like half an hour.
okay. Yeah, I'll just, get ready to. Armor okay? Like, light. I mean, I'm just wearing like some leather. Too much? Too little?
Maybe grab like some oil and make sure that it doesn't creak while you're at it,
All right,
just in
all right,
case.
right. Okay. And yeah, half an hour passes. You get your equipment. You do have some resources, right?
I have a dot of resources, so I have like a shack, 2 cloaks, and like,
Yeah. I'd say because reasons, you can get yourself probably if you want, like, like a level 1 armor essentially if you want to.
what,
And
like
obviously,
padded clothing?
yeah, just basically some additional things,
Yeah, sure. While I'm there, I was planning to switch out for my wood gear and the cloak that actually blends in.
Yeah, that's gonna encompass that. That's why you're not getting ready. And it's like, okay. So half an hour later, he sort of just stands there, spear at the ready, bow, arrow, quiver in the back, ready. You can see since this is kind of near the main road essentially, there's some fire and like it. You can see that it's greased up in certain locations. It's like a little bit reflective, and you come up. It's like, so I'm ready to go. You?
Okay, so before we go further, I want to give him the once over with like auspex and I don't know, perception survival to look for things that are likely to snag, cause trouble, make noise, etc. Wipe down the extra grease, make sure he doesn't, essentially further prepare him and look for obvious problems.
Sure. You look him over. The only thing that seems to be a small issue is he has a money pouch essentially to his side that can clang essentially. The armor is actually relatively new, so you presume that it might have come from the armory that you guys just were in. Weapons, things, but yeah, no, it's mostly seems to be just around the belt and stuff like moving money. You see, there's also like some keys, probably from his home or something. And some things can clang.
Okay, do you have any cloth, handkerchiefs, etc.? Extra pair of socks, something that you can wrap some of this in so it doesn't clink.
Yeah, let me yeah, and he sort of takes it down. Like you notice that he had like a small little big sort of like a bigger pouch that he also is like slumped over, and he sort of just like puts it in there, checks it. It's a little bit. He sort of organizes things like to middle. It's like, okay, it really doesn't clang now, and it's like this might be the slightest of clang, but it's inaudible essentially unless you're like using auspex really.
Okay, so you were ready to go head to head with the bear. I respect that. We'll try and avoid that, but I think I'm gonna have you walk in front of me. That way I can hopefully catch you before you step on anything you've missed. And you can be a distraction in case I need to shoot a bear over your shoulder.
Well, at least you're being honest with me this time. But
I'm always honest with my partners.
Fair enough. All right then. Do you just so which village are we visiting first? You looked if you remember from the map with the explanation as well. Like there was one sort of really a bit further away, one a bit closer, and one sort of middle. But they sort of like went north and then sort of south. Not really in a vertical line, but if you
So
combine them all,
either way, they're a bitch to hit in a single night, is what I'm hearing.
yeah, this is probably gonna require a few.
Pretty early in this night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to the first one first. I don't want to drive the animals from the ones closer into there and meet a lot of them in a single night.
All right. It takes you maybe about hour and a half to even walking. It's a distance away, all things considering. If you were on horseback, carriages, anything, it definitely would have been faster. But you can't really go with a carriage, bear hunting. So
You haven't seen the Fanyon bear hunt.
I don't think I have. What the fuck did I miss? I don't want to ask at this point. Let's not. So you get there eventually, and the village is primarily empty. It's still like not super late, so you do see like from windows some very small like fire, like a little bit of light, but the village itself is mostly like dead. It's sleep. People are sleeping. People are in their houses and the like. And yeah, you got there, and well, you look around, you activate auspice, and it's like, yeah, there's a distance. There's wilderness out there. You have some flats, you have some plains, but then you have, sort of like a bit more forest areas, and then a bit of a dense forest area, and then it goes back. You really have a horizon essentially. It's like, okay, yeah, I have an idea of where to go.
Okay.
So, this is mostly going to look for speed. Give me then. I'm going to roll 2 rolls essentially. One is going to be perception survival to see, and auspics would apply, I say, fully, because you're looking for tracks, looking for any signs and stuff. And the next one being dexterity stealth, simply to see how sneaky you can be. And I'll be rolling for him as well.
Okay. No, he's a Bruja. Yeah. He'll be fine. He doesn't... I'm not gonna encourage him to spend blood on this. So that is perception, survival, and what I have for perception is tactical. I'm not sure if that applies.
What did you have? Tactical?
Mm-hmm.
For perception survival, not this one this time.
All right. And for Dex Stealth, I have Wilderness.
All right. That definitely would apply. All right. So you go through. You can notice that he's relatively blind. He doesn't see a lot, doesn't do stuff, but following sort of looking at, you and going through, he's able to
I have
stay...
him walk in front.
Yeah, in front. He turns back to essentially look at you, like, to see how you're walking sometimes, and like, you like, watch the front, watch ahead. But in general, even though he's like that, and he pushes up, he's really trying really careful to be silent, and there comes a point when walking where you guys are kind of synchronized, actually. Like, you're like surprised, like, oh shit, he says like not that good, but he's actually not bad. So you guys are going, but he looks around, he doesn't notice things, but you're already looking, and it's like, okay, I see a track. This seems to be deer, not what I'm looking for. Goes about, and maybe about half an hour in, you find something actually. What gets you first is actually the smell. You turn around, you notify, Lambert, you go a bit ahead, and you find essentially, basically, mostly a skeleton at this point, but there does seem to be essentially chewed out a deer that seemed to have been caught off guard somehow. You look around. You have how much survival do you have again?
I
Four?
have 2 dots. I've mostly relied on my vampire disciplines rather than getting good on that account.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Even with two survival, yeah, you're good enough to know. Like, it seems to have been rotting for a few days. Like what the meat looks like isn't exactly fresh. Doesn't seem to be much, in terms of like insect activity, considering it's nighttime and like. But there does seem to be larvae and the like. So it's been here for a while. It seems to have been chewed basically to the bone. Some of the bones have been broken to like make more room. But you're looking around, it's like, okay, this is you can notice like some of the bones like really break, almost as if something like really got it. And you're like, okay, this is probably a sign of one of those bears.
Okay.
And you find a nice little track, sort of like almost like a little bit of blood, almost, and like somewhere the grass is a little bit plushed down, and you're like, okay, comparing the tracks, blah blah. You follow through.
If if we actually see any animals that aren't bears that present an easy shot,
yeah,
I would take the shot to try and use something like a rabbit or a deer or whatever as bait instead, so we could lure it in rather than going to it.
Roll me a perception alertness for this one, because this one's much more for taking attention. Auspix applies, but the base difficulty for this one will be 7, because it's it's nighttime.
Right.
The tracks are kind of a bit more closer to the ground, but this one you're looking a little bit afar as well.
I did not apply Auspex to the first one as difficulty decrease, by the way.
Reroll it then. Just to see how fast it goes then.
For the perception survival, this was so
Yeah.
reduced by 3. You want to go ham on this?
Yeah, essentially. Because you're being much closer essentially, so it's not like the nighttime impairs you overly much, and this obviously relies on some other senses. So for successes, it's a lot better. You're able to. We're just gonna say that you were able to find the tracks and the deer much sooner. Maybe in like by the time you get there, it takes a while, to the forested area, but it takes you maybe even like 10 minutes, right, just to find something. It's like, wow, that was fucking fast.
And that is for finding an appropriate bait animal.
Fair. You don't really see any rabbits or things. The thing that you do see or in here obviously is mostly owl activity and small amounts of bird, and you're looking through and to the dense sort of forestry, and you do notice like some positions. It's not like you hear them and you can't see them. You're able to sneakily go up and you see one like an owl, and it's like, that can work, but you have a clear shot to it.
Okay.
You want to take it?
I'm gonna do a quick look with Auspex to make sure it's not somebody's ghoul, because they already hate me.
Sure, roll for it. That was Auspex 2, right? Perception, empathy, I think it's still?
Yes, it's like an 8.
Yep. Yeah, no. You activate it, and you look at the owl. Surprisingly, it doesn't seem to be ghouled.
I shoot it.
Sure. Roll then the dexterity archery.
Okay. What difficulty?
We'll call it a difficulty 7 because it is a smaller creature.
Okay.
All right. 3 successes. Roll damage, mostly for the funsies.
That is 6 dice then, because it's a base of 4 lethal.
Yep.
Yep. Here we go.
Nice damage, boy.
you you take an aim at it, and you tell Lambert, no, like, sure, so, and he's like, and he looks at you. He's like trying to really take in this, survivor, essentially, this archer, this madman of a man, looking up, trying to shoot it out. And it's like, oh, I can see what he's trying to do. Okay, okay. Arrow goes clean, straight. Phew. But even it comes in, and somehow, you don't know really how, you were so accurate, but it seemed to have unfurled its wings
You
at
do
just
see the
perfect
fucking
time,
armpit.
perfect time, and it just goes shloop, and it sort of reacts quickly, and it just flies away. Shit. And Lambert's like looking. It's like goes from like amazement, excitement, to,
Finger over the lips, other hand at the ears.
You heard some other activity, essentially, like some birds fluttering around things. Do you have animal ken?
I do not.
Okay, never mind then. You just hear, some of those things. It becomes sort of like you hear more voices, but then it sort of lessens down eventually. You feel like this area has been currently evacuated of owls, and there doesn't seem to be. And now there's just like the silence of the night.
You just
And Lambert just goes,
yeah, just look at him and just shrug like, what you gonna do?
If you want, just to make it pretty quick, just roll me another perception survival to see if you can perception alertness. I mean, to find any more bait. But this one's going to be at a difficulty 7 this time. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, no. Base difficulty is 8 actually this time.
If it's something that's gonna unduly delay me, I'm not gonna bother.
Fair enough then.
That was like a opportunity thing. Like if something presents itself as an easy target.
Fair. It takes, so you go back to following the trail, and it takes maybe about another hour. It changes. Sometimes you're like you have to come back a little bit. It's like, okay, it diverged here, and it's like you're not sure what stepped where, but then you're like, okay, no, this is it. Follow, and eventually you arrive to what is essentially a small creek going through, and a small little, like, waterfall in part of it. There's rocks, there's a hill, sort of a small deal, and yeah, you notice a little bit sort of not really a cave full on, but it's like sort of under the hill, and it's like, it's positioned out of place, right? And it's like, okay, this is where the tracks lead. This must be where it is.
Okay.
And you're still a distance away though. You're maybe like looking and blah blah, maybe about 80 to 100 meters maybe away from it. It's a distance away, but you can notice it essentially.
Okay. So we need to know if the bear is in there. So the plan is to leave Lambert about 40-50 meters away, and then creep close enough to the cave that I can hopefully hear the bear breathing if it's sleeping. So like maybe 10-15 meters away from the opening. Trying to stay, in a position where the wind won't blow my smell to the bear.
Got it. Lambert sort of just nods and just looks and he's like, bow or spear? Bow, okay. And he takes out his bow readies, and he's like looking at that area. Short bows would have that much range. Yeah, no, they have that much range, right?
Yeah, he'll get at least one halfway decent shot if the bear starts chasing me, I expect.
Okay. Going to your previous dex stealth, as you've been going stealthily through this wood, you eventually arrive near the cave, and you activate Auspex. You can actually, you don't really see, much, as the light sort of, there's not a lot of light coming in. It's pretty dark, but you do take a second, silent. You hear some of the, owls that you've decided to skip hoo a little bit. It's like, shut the fuck up, please. But there's a moment, about maybe 5-10 seconds of silence, and you hear, and it's like, okay, something's breathing in there.
Okay. So this cave, it's near a waterfall.
Yeah, it's not a big waterfall. It's like a small creek. It's not like splashing down. It's like sort of like trickling down, more like.
Okay. I think I'm having a plan. It's a retarded plan. It's a Malkavian plan, but it's a plan.
And that's all you need sometimes in life.
Is the cave positioned such that I could put something in the creek to divert part of the water, start slowly trickling into the cave, hopefully pissing off the bear by the time I'm far away, lined up with a shot?
Huh. All right. Trying to think. It's possible. The trickling isn't overly large, but if you have a nice enough, I don't know, plank or something that can divert the water, it might happen, but with the quantity of water, it might take some time. But it's
Okay.
feasible.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to risk a witchcraft's roll.
Sure, go for it.
For this, I will spend a point of willpower.
This is. I'm gonna give you a I'm gonna put this at difficulty. I'm gonna put this actually at a difficulty 5 because it is pretty ingenious plan.
I'm still spending a willpower.
Yeah, sure.
The
Okay,
amount of willpower spent.
So
in
the
first
plan
session,
is to
guys.
have me and Lambert lined up with bows for when the bear grumpily comes out of its wet cave.
all right. I had to press my queen. So okay, you place it. Like Lambert is like looking at a distance. It's like, what the fuck is he doing? But eventually you cooperate. It's like, oh, okay, and you wait. It takes maybe 20 minutes of waiting, right? Lambert's getting a little bit impatient. It's like, okay, now. And like he sometimes gets a little bit startled by like one of the owls that just suddenly just like goes hoot hoot.
Yeah, when he
But-
gets twitchy, I just turn to him with an excited grin and just like...
That does not help in any sense.
It's like, see, this is the fun part, like trying to get that message across.
Yeah. But eventually, you notice a small figure like come out, sort of like on a little bit of the moonlight that kind of goes through the canopy. It doesn't seem aggressive. It feels like it just woke up and has no idea why the fuck it's wet. And as it sort of stumbles out a little bit, looking around, essentially, it's half outside the cave. The upper part, where the head is outside. The other part is just like still a bit inside. And it's sort of just like looking around, sort of looking back at us, like looking why it's wet, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's... Bears are wild animals, but even wild animals want comfort. It's not going back to sleep in that wet cave, so just wait to Lambert and just let it come out fully and relax a bit. So the shock is at its maximum when we strike.
All right. So it comes out, sort of looking. It sort of like almost sits to sort of like better see. It goes like down, up, just to see. Puts one claw, and then it takes a while, but then it decides it's like, I'm gonna roll a little bit on the grass or something, just like improvising something.
Yeah, when it starts to look around, when it's, more concerned with its wetness than its surroundings, that's when I'm gonna half stand up and slowly draw.
Okay. It's not currently looking in your direction because of the positioning. I've been going on the left side, so.
Yeah, I'm hoping Lambert takes the hint, cause
Yeah, no, Lambert sees you go up, and it's like, oh shit, what's happening? And he's up, and he's just like waiting for you to like, release.
I just look at him, look at the bow meaningfully. 3 on 3.
Okay. Are you taking in any terms the aim action? Are you like taking some time to like line up the shot, or are you just going for it?
I might take a single turn to line up the shot, but mostly I'm more angling to get the stealth bonus.
Okay, fair enough. Lambert's going to get the one bonus as well. So yeah, roll Dex Stealth. Dex difficulty 6, I think it was, and to see how much stealth bonus you get.
That is 7 with the wilderness bonus.
Last, I'm gonna roll for Lambert over here with his shitty fucking stealth rolls and help God celerity. Hey, he gets an extra damage die.
Okay, and that's 1 extra on top of that for aiming.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you took a turn? So you should have +6 dice to hit this.
+7, cause specialty.
Oh yeah, my bad. Go for it.
So +7, that takes it to a whooping 15.
This is how I killed Vikings, guys.
Well, yes, this line up a trap, make them come to where you want them, and fuck them up.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, I have longbow, so 5.
Yeah. So 5 successes, so that's +4 damage, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let me just roll for Lambert so that we can. So he gets +2, Sim +1. He'd have about that much dice.
Mm-hmm. Short bows are, I think, only 2 damage. Oh, we're about to be perforated by a bear.
The bear can't soak lethal at least. Or suddenly it starts soaking lethal and you know you fucked up and you're like, oh shit.
You should have checked the aura!
Yeah,
He takes war form. Oh shit.
I'm so sorry, sir.
it's been an honor, sir.
It's a meaty guest. He's been
So
hiding. He's
he
been in the
rolled
woods for
3,
too long.
3. The short bow is what was it? 4 dice damage.
2. 4 is for the longbow.
Yeah, we would be have gotten one of the short bows essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a living being. It can't hit. So you Lambert like the arrows kind of sort of like go and it's pretty straight flying, right? You hear it, you like it hits in, and you just hear a. Sort of,
I just 3 arrows in the air, immediately start shooting.
Yeah. Time to roll initiative.
Great shit.
Do you even have celerity, Chris?
I don't. But there's a special maneuver for shooting a fuck ton.
Oh, there is. Nice.
How is it so high? You made a D20 initiative roll?
What the fuck? I didn't make it. Hoot! Redemir, you memed on me. Redemir, Damien.
Debated.
Redemir gave me the 1d20.
Nice.
Okay, try now.
Rip. Okay, can I spend a fate point to get max initiative?
Now to see what a bear has. Are you guys ready? Wow, boom, look at that bear. That bear on that map. Actually, wait a second, I'm a dum-dum. I prepped this. Hold up. Haha, forest.
See, the important part, you know,
Ignore the Patreon.
you know the shittiest character for potentially combat, at least clan-wise, has to go on the hunting mission against a fucking wild animal who we all know are fucking deadly. Thank you, Demi.
If you're lucky, the bears, wherever Demi the bear sets from, was not mage, because they are pretty fucked in there.
You
We
can only guess
cannot
where I got
see
it from. Haha.
we can't see the old initiatives anymore because they were on the other page.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, the other map.
Wait, I still have the turn order. Everything's okay on the turn order.
You
Yeah,
can
for
see
you
the
it's fine,
turn.
but for us not.
You
How do
can
I,
see the
change that?
turn order from all the pages, but we can only see the turn order from this page. So you need to remove those and re-add the tokens that are on this map. I hope you remember, Demi. We want to be 40 meters away for our ambush, for reasons.
Yeah.
Bear charges with super speed.
Hey, see, 40 feet. Hey,
40 meters, you disgusting animal! What are you
Yeah,
doing?
we're gonna count that as meters. Don't worry about it. Also, stop taking fucking cards from the deck. God fucking damn it. So, Domino, what would you like to do in combat?
Bears, it probably isn't gonna attack this round, right? So, okay. What was the rules for the multi-shot? The first one counts as no difficulty increase and -1 dice, and then it kept going up.
Yeah, but I think that was for the that's for that. But since we I think that goes in hand with the multiple, what's it called? Multiple actions per round. So I think it's just -1 dice, and then the next one has a +1 difficulty. Yeah.
Okay. The bear is pretty hurt at this point, possibly
yeah.
reducing its speed.
Mm-hmm. It's limping a little bit. It's like, oh.
Okay, I'm gonna declare firing 2 arrows. That should be enough.
All right. The bear, noticing you and angry, will try and run at you.
See, normally my tactic would be, at this point, to duck behind a tree and obfuscate. With a Viking, you know? But... oh, I'm a retard. I should have been using Silence of Death to silence this fucker's fuck-ups. Yeah. Never mind.
Okay, so you're taking 2 shots. Okay, bear's starting, and Lambert is gonna take 1 arrow out and shoot as well. So he goes first. So he rolled. So yeah, he's only gonna take a single shot. He's not what to say. He ain't you, you know.
Do.
So he has 6 dice to hit. Hits. And it deals some damage. Bear is much more limping now. Like, another hit. This one kind of like, as you're looking for it, it like hits this area on the bear, essentially. Like, what you could consider a shoulder. It kind of puts, it almost tries to slip, but it doesn't. And it still keeps on going. So yeah, the bear limping, movement is 20 plus, I have a 26. That gets reduced about half. So you also only get like 13 meters essentially. So that's like, it's taking a while. It's taking a while. And you can sort of like already see it's like, as you're about to release those arrows, it's like, it's hurt, and it wants to stop, and it wants to run away, but there is no running from the pain train. Shoot it.
You don't torture the animal. Now, for the first one, I get -1 dice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hits.
So that is 7 dice of damage, I believe, because specialty, again.
Mm-hmm. 4. Yeah. Roll the second one as well. Just because you're shooting twice.
Don't explode the bear.
Second one
Okay,
misses.
that was... So you release 2 of them, right? basically at same connectivity. The first one flies, hits the bear, sort of like in a really awkward spot, where like almost at like the neck over here area, and it stumbles and it just sort of like falls. The other one was going towards it, but you suppose you fucked up the angle a little bit, and it kind of just like flew a little bit, and then hits the ground pretty early, and that one misses. But you see it sort of, stop. It's got that arrows in it. It's bleeding. It's hurting. You hear some coming from it, and as it keeps on going to you, sort of stops, looks to sort of like go, pull back before it just sort of slumps over, and sort of just feels like it sort of just passes out right there and then.
Lambert, you're precise enough with that spear to hit it through the eye if you're standing next to it, just outside its reach.
I mean, yeah, no shit, I can hit that.
I'm gonna knock another arrow, and I'm gonna slowly advance. Best put it out of its misery, not let it suffer.
All right. He puts back the bow things. He's a little bit behind you, and he takes out the bow and the spear and keeps moving forward a bit. And it's like, all right.
Keeping a lookout for more bears.
Yeah. Roll a perception alertness.
Okay. Auspex?
Yes. +1 difficulty though, so base difficulty is 7 because nighttime. You're key. You're in your element, right? It's not fully your element though. It's not Viking element, but you're in it. It's you still got that kill. Something like pushed you a little bit. You made your blood move a bit. And as you sort of look around, eyes open, ears open, Auspex activated. Nothing. It seems that the not even the birds, not even the owls. It seems that the growls from the bear might have spooked everything else. It's just silence. And even by listening out, you can still hear the bear very slowly breathe, like in and out, but very slowly. And as you approach closer, how close do you approach in the end?
Lambert to the point where he can stay out of its reach and hopefully coup de grace it with the spear. Mm-hmm. Be another 2 meters out, aiming the longbow at its head in case it tries to jump at him.
All right. Lambert sort of stops when you stop, and you just keep going. It's like, all right. And he goes up, and he sort of aims. Bear doesn't seem to be moving, and he's like, all right. And he sort of just pulls back. This is like a fucking difficulty 3 roll, like when you line up, so I'm not gonna fucking roll for it. He just pulls back, aims a little bit, jabs. It goes in, and seemingly, I think you see that Lambert sort of, I think, put extra strength in it even as he goes in, pushes it through, and the spear is pretty long, and it goes in by maybe 1/3 before it like stops, and then he sort of just like tries to yank it a little bit, and before pulling it out, and blood, gore on the spear, the eyes bleeding and things, and you don't hear the breathing. Like had like one more breath, a small little noise, and then silence.
Okay.
One bear down. How does it feel killing a bear? It was just an innocent bear. It did nothing, Chris. Why did you kill a bear?
Listen, this is the rule of the medieval times. So we are gonna butcher that bear. We're gonna take the skin and as much prime meat as we can carry, and we're gonna get rich. That's what we're gonna do, Debbie. When the arrows went in, I didn't hear a thunk. Meow. I heard cha-ching.
Very well. Very well.
Peasants, it's meat. Peasants will buy it. You don't understand.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
So-
if we have enough time, I
Yeah,
will
carrying
butcher
it is hard. Even Lambert's like, so I can't bring it back. unless we got like a carrot or something.
Yeah, no,
But,
we're just gonna butcher it here and take
yeah.
the valuable
If you
bits.
take about 2 to 3 hours, like to actually fully clean it and like you get all the parts, you're able to butcher it. So what are you taking? Are you taking everything you can, meat, hide, and stuff, or are you leaving certain things?
Um, like the biggest fangs in its mouth, I'm gonna pull those out. Gonna
Okay.
keep one, hand the other to Lambert, and just clap him on the shoulder. First thing I do when I start butchering it.
Oh shit! This is a. All right, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, that's why we didn't want to fight it up close.
Right, I'll keep this one for myself. What can I help with you with?
And yeah, I'm just gonna, use his greater strength to help pull the skin off while I'm sawing at it and just, do a quick job of getting at least the hide off, because that's valuable.
Yeah. It takes you a while. He pulls a little bit, and it's like he goes for it, and it's like, okay, it's going. It's like there's a point as well where it's just like you keep on pulling and you're trying to cut it. It's just like, fuck me, this is like strong together, but eventually let loose. About an hour and a half in, you're able to cut the skin, and then it's like, all right, now we have to turn on the other side to get that other part. Help, please. And a little push, a little pull here and there eventually turns it around, and it's like you're able to get the other side of the hide as well. And yeah, you're able to get a well, actually, just to perfectly do to see how much you can accurately do this. Roll me a. I'm gonna have to say an intelligence survival, actually, to properly go through it.
Okay.
And I'll.
Yeah,
if
I
you're,
would be using Auspex, mostly for the sense of touch, so I can feel when the skin is giving way. And
take a -1 difficulty to this. The base difficulty is 6, and since Lambert is helping you in a specific way, I'm gonna roll his fuck. What would it be then? It's like strength. Just fuck it. I'll roll strength survival essentially for this case, which would be about
Okay.
this one. So I think how we rule it, that's plus 2 extra dice, right?
That's 2 extra successes. 2 per row.
Yeah.
Or 1
my
per
bad.
2.
So yeah, you're able to work sort of in tandem, and it's going and it's going and it's going, and yeah, you're able to pretty well get this hide off. There's like some of the corner bits where it was a little bit difficult, and obviously the parts that are a little bit injured by the arrow are a little bit iffy, but in general the hide in total, yeah, it's functional.
Yeah.
Nice.
These are probably like hunting arrows, so those can be soon shot, and once it's properly treated, it won't be much of an issue.
Yeah, you can recover some of the arrows from the toughness, like broke at least in the tip and a little bit in the inside. Some of them are recoverable, some of them aren't. So he shot about, what was it, 4 arrows, so about 2 essentially, 2 broken, 2 still Gucci.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, I think with the time we've taken, we've accomplished the main mission. Lambert knows the basics now, he understands the danger, and we've bonded, so we're gonna head back, and if there's time, we're gonna sell the bearskin and split it 50-50.
All right. It's by the time you come back, because there was a walking time and things. Also, you're taking the hide. Are you taking also a good chunk of the meat, or?
If we can take some without spending too much time, yeah. And some of the blood I would like to dedicate to the spirits of the forest for this generous bounty they have provided, of course.
How do you do that? How do you offer to the spirits?
I'd probably just cup it in my hands, speak a few words, and pour it in the stream.
Pour in the stream. Okay. Lambert sort of looks at that. And it's like, lets you finish and things. It's like, so that's some kind of like ritual prayer. What you doing? What you did, rather.
It's something my grandmother spoke of. It's it's best to be grateful to the forest for what it gives us. Otherwise, next time there'll be 2 bears and one of them will come up behind us, you know?
My dad taught me, if I was still, mortal, if I got something like this, share with the family, eat it, feast. Sadly, can't do that. Well, I mean, I suppose I can. Would you let me bite into it or something?
Be my guest.
Uh,
I mean, sure, I'll fucking try. And it's like, he's sort of a little bit inspired by you. He goes in for it, drinks it. It's like, oh, oh. He takes like maybe like 1 blood point out of it. It's like really quick. It's like, oh, that's
Yeah, I know. If you have to, you can live off it, but it's not for everyone.
right. He just gives like, go to bear heaven, amen.
I think that's heresy.
Just like, fucking disgusting. It's like, oh, that taste is gonna be with me for this entire night. Ah. All right. So you're able to take about maybe a quarter of the meat and the hide. Like Lambert is able to carry the hide. It's really heavy, but he's able to, carry it over the shoulders, like make something like this. A little bit bloody, but he doesn't really mind. You're able to sort of carry a bit of the meat. A lot of it sadly stayed back, but you're able to bring back. Though by the time you return, it's going to maybe be like 2 a.m. Trying to sell things like this might have to wait. Unless you want to forcefully go to somebody's door. It's like, hey, we got bears for you.
Well, we have contacts rating. Could we know someone who still operates at this time of night?
You roll me the contacts rating then.
That is 4 dice.
Do you have any personal as well? Those
Those are all into other things.
Perhaps. So yeah, you know of a guy, mortal human. You know him mostly that he works because for some odd reason, he likes to be awake during the night and sleeps during like the fucking day most of the time. So it's
He's
like,
a gamer.
Medieval gamer, guys, and that causes violence. And you're able to eventually go to him, and yeah, you knock on his door. You see some light on there. It's like, all right, so 50-50, right? Yeah, Lambert will go like, okay. He opens up and he's like, hey, Domino, nice to meet you. And
Yeah.
so you've got some presents for me.
Yep, went out hunting again. How do you like bearskin and some meat?
Well, the meat.
It's a good skin. Took it tonight, it's fresh.
First of all, I'm being rude. Come inside.
Sure.
Just try not get anything bloody, right?
That might be a problem. You might want to lay something down.
No. Hold up. Put it over there, and just like source the corner, and it's like, okay. So, bearskin, bear meat. Bear meat. All right. I could sell that too. Yeah. Okay. Thinking. Bearskin. Okay. So he does a sort of a little bit of calculations. Like, okay, so what you're looking for is first of all.
Whatever is the usual with him, I've done this enough that I probably have like a going rate.
Yeah. It's like, all right, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, let's go with that then, usual. So, you can just leave it here. I'll be routine. And he sort of just goes and prepares like essentially some coins. And yeah, there's a good amount there. Not enough to boost you to resource 2, but it definitely secures your resource 1 brilliantly. And he puts it out. It's like, all right, there you go. If you want, take the time to count it out.
No, you wouldn't screw me. This is you know, return customer and all that. Be real stupid.
Though I do have a question, if I may.
Yeah?
Where'd you get bear skin and bear meat at like this time of the night? It's like almost morning.
I know, but wanted his forest patrolled. We took it near dusk, so we only now got it out here after butchering it, so...
No offense, I love you. This is nice, this is all good. But hunting a bear at this time of the night, you need to set your priorities sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah, by the way, I need to spend the willpower because I just lied there.
Uh, go for it. That's fair.
But yeah, no, that's the kind of question I absolutely cannot answer, honestly.
Fair.
Especially with the witness.
It's like, yeah, fair enough. Anyways, you get any of this quality again? You know, this, bring it back.
You know,
essentially.
he said that there's a bear problem out that way, so I bet we're gonna have a couple more hides for you coming nights. No
Don't worry,
promises, but we'll come to you first.
Totally. I'll make a profit, so I'll get the coin for you. You just bring in the products. Anyways, have a nice night, or good morning at this point, however you want to take it.
Yeah.
I'll be here. And yeah, you exit. He closes. You're on the street. There's nobody really, you know, right there. You do notice like a patrol of maybe 2 guards, like really far out, essentially, like sort of coming down. But yeah, it's you and Lambert's like, oh, that was a lot of money.
Nice bonus for something we were gonna do anyway, eh?
Yeah, I suppose actually. Yeah. So what now? I don't think we have enough time to go for another one.
Oh, yeah. I know, maybe we can hire a car tomorrow night and park it nearby so we can, if we end up taking more than one, we can move more stuff out. But, yeah, I'd rather end early and make sure that, you know, we're on the same page, we make a good team. Any questions you have about what we did?
I mean, well, do all bear taste like that? They do taste like that, don't it?
Most animals, predators are actually a little bit better.
I mean, it's a bear, isn't it a predator?
Yeah, something like cow would be worse.
Okay, that's good to know. Actually.
Yeah, but hey, you know you can stomach it. If you're
Yeah.
ever in an emergency, you know you have the option, right?
Yeah, if I'm in that emergency, I'm already fucked, I think.
It's best not to get there, yeah.
Yeah, alright. Anyways, so, just, because I know a guy, right? Cart with, you just me and you pulling it, or do we need a horse? Because if that's a horse, we're gonna be a bit more expensive. I mean, we're not gonna buy the horse, that's like, oof, that's out of my price range.
You know, I know someone, but I don't think it's worth the investment for this.
Fair enough, so just a cart?
I mean, we could rent like a donkey, couldn't we? Someone has to rent animals if you put a safety.
We're in Paris, of course somebody does it. Though, don't know that guy. I know a horse guy. Well, a horse and a carriage guy.
You know what? You go celebrate. I know a few people. I'm gonna ask around. See if I can find a good deal. If not, we'll go to your guy first thing tomorrow night.
Alright then. See you later then.
Okay.
Oh, wait. My half.
Oh yeah, I've already divided and holding it out to him.
What the fuck would you do that? I didn't even see that. Sure.
It's
just
probably
takes
like
us,
automatic. One coin goes here, one coin goes here.
Did you try and get it as even as possible, or did you skim a bit from the top?
I made it as even as possible, and if it's uneven, it's in his favor.
Alright. He just looks into it. It's like, alright. Just, checking. Anyways. See you later.
Yeah,
And pass off.
Lambert, you did good out there for first time. Really good.
Yeah, I know. There he goes.
The first time I meet Lambert, I'm gonna be eating a steak.
Okay.
So yeah, you're rest of the night. You can go check in with those contacts, and yeah, you have enough contacts rating, and you already rolled 3 successes. You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. It's all that deal with your community over here. So you're able to easily, the horse guy knows a guy who knows donkeys. Easy as that. So you're able to find, if you want, a donkey and a cart, and that's about relatively going to be maybe about Uh, it's gonna cost a little bit. Like, are you renting it or are you sort of just like
I'm
taking like?
renting it
Yeah, it's gonna
for
take.
probably if he gives me a better price that way,
Hmm,
for at least a couple of nights.
it usually do be like that. So yeah. Though you're gonna have to pay upfront at least half, and then the other half as
Yeah,
rent time comes up.
yeah. No, I'm. The plan is to essentially take it out of what we earn out of this, so it's fair. But yeah,
Fair enough. So yeah. Lastly, let's do Skeleton Man over here, shall we?
Hmm.
How are you, Redimir?
I'm fine.
Perfect. So, after leaving the office oh so long ago, you know, Francis went his way, Domino went his way, Severin, he's sort of like, I'm gonna be here somewhere. He's there, and yeah, you stay there. You leave the office. Is there anything particularly that you want to do essentially? Because
Yes.
okay,
First of all, a question. Like, does this place count as like sort of an Elysium?
yes.
Nah, fuck.
Like the entire like it's not it's like not specifically it's a weird thing. It's not specifically it's not where the place you go and gather around with other vampires. It's more of an inclination of don't do shit in here.
Yeah, suckers. Anyways, I I will be looking around, getting. I want to get like a lay of the building
All right.
for which I might can use later for other things,
Uh-huh.
and I want to see if I can see some good spots where I can hide certain things if need be.
All right.
Especially like places that might be frequented often, or places that where people go to discuss like private matters.
All right. All right. Um give me then a since you're looking for that stuff, give me a let's say a perception stealth. So you can sort of see where you get the perfect view or you get the perfect hearing, just the distances, blah blah.
Would my aura bonus apply to that?
This isn't specifically looking for it, sadly. Like you're not specifically actually stealthing, you're looking for areas. I wouldn't say your aura applies in this case.
Fuck.
Like if you're sneaking around or trying to be sneaky, yeah, your bearing would apply. But this is more like in preparation looking. The difficulty will be 6 though.
No. Okay. Hmm. No, let's not activate aspects in case it goes wrong. Yeah. Does my specialty discerning apply?
Discerning. I'd say it would.
All right.
Because you're looking for places where you can discern information, I suppose, like hear from people. So yeah, 5 6s. Um, yeah, you look around, and funnily enough, it's almost you get a feeling actually that this place is almost made to have that in mind. And you're like, okay, this corner right here is perfect if somebody's over there, but why would they make that there? Huh. All right. And you go around. Some places are, a big garden. There's, patrols. There's some places that you're not able to enter, right? You have a sort of an open area where you can peruse, use, like your species, let's say, specifically. But you're able to look, and yeah, you do actually find some actual interesting areas where you can get a small little advantage, essentially.
Nice.
But you do get that feeling that this was made intentionally, almost.
Huh. Are there any places that feel more coincidental? Just in case they try to, like make essentially leave like a trap there. Oh, there's like an obvious spot, and then they check there regularly.
With that amount of successes, you do find like for example let's say like a dead end, right? And that
Mhm.
dead end has a small little like opening sort of say that goes like at the very end where you can like sort of squeeze in, which is another dead end, and you get the feeling like that might be a place. It's like you can't escape anywhere, right? um so there is that small feeling, but some of them feel not like that, right?
Mm.
And you you're not entirely sure, but it could also just be coincidental in the sense that it feels like it should be like that, but it really isn't. You're not 100% sure like what the motive was, but that's the sort of gist you get.
All right. I will try to keep those places in mind.
Just note that down somewhere in case it comes up, please.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah. Um, if after that's finished, I'm probably just gonna go and see if there's like some interesting still around,
All
and
right.
if not,
Yeah.
I'll
Uh,
probably I don't know.
this
Yeah.
entire ordeal, looking around things, might take you about an hour. With those amount of successes as well, going through the places where you can, looking around. Eventually, though, there doesn't seem to be much activity. You do see some, other fellow kindred that seem to have passed by the Seneschal's office or moving out, which might give you an implication. Okay, there's more people like that going in, going out, right?
Hmm.
But in general, nothing really of big interest happens. You don't see anybody sort of noteworthy currently, besides various guards, patrols, made, and stuff like that. So eventually, you decide to take a leave. And as you're exiting, going through the courtyard and going out, presumably returning back to your haven.
Actually, no. I want to check out the gallows.
The gallows. All right.
Yes.
Hold up, my
So,
heresy senses are tingling.
so considering this is the sort of noble area, this would also. And actually, no, the prison is not located here. Let me just check where I put the fucking prison. I think it was on the right bank, but let me check. Fuck, I had Paris open somewhere.
F.
Yes. Haha. Yes, the prison one is on the right bank. So you actually take a right this time. And you know that people, this is a prison. People go there. And usually there's gallows there. It's not, it's when you arrive there, I mean it's empty, nobody's there, nobody's on the gallows currently. But you can fit 5 dead hanged people there at the time.
Where they ta- where they taking that people from there?
Um Well, what you would know, I mean, you're a knowledgeable person in this sense. Usually, what happens after somebody, is hanged, it's left a bit to stay as a reminder, right? But
Yeah.
eventually, you, mostly because of reasons, uh, some of those bodies end up being either cremated or buried, or either has an actual burial if it was of someone of somewhat importance, but if not, if it was just a random fuck, just basically just grave, just that's it, no name, no nothing.
All right.
And some people, if they're like fucking Satanist heretics, they'll just get burned. Like their corpse will just get burned in the end.
Hmm. So, are those places still frequented?
You mean the graves and stuff?
Yeah, like at this hour.
Um, Depends. You know that some of these places are kept by certain people, undertakers essentially, just to keep things collected, and also to kind of stave off the knowledge of ghosts and stuff like that appear. Um, but you're not exactly sure about the specific individual in question this time, so he may or may not be asleep.
All
Like the
right.
scheduling can be weird.
Okay. Do they have like a guardhouse or something like that, or like a
Nah,
house where they like hang?
depends on the luxury of the cemetery, I suppose. This time, the ones that are a bit more, the here lays, noble, this guy or this guy, they're gonna have a little bit of a little bit more protection things. These over here, they're just sort of on the outside of the city, and that's kind of it. Maybe something might be visible from the walls or stuff, but not necessarily. Essentially,
All right. Well, then I will be heading essentially back to my place real quick, grabbing like a shovel, and then return later on with like
all right.
uh
It's It's at that
Like,
point when go for it. Go for it. Keep on.
well, yeah, return later on and like look for the look for what look to the places that were like fresh earlier. You know, the unmarked
Yeah.
graves and stuff.
When you know take in the knowledge, it's like, okay, I got a plan, I got a program. You return back to your haven, and you know it's your haven's workable, right? But there seems to be somebody waiting in front, just waiting, standing. You're able to notice this from a distance away, though. That they're just sort of waiting in front of you. It's like you don't get guests often, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of gets you a little bit off guard.
Well, I will be continue my approach, but as I go, I will try to take a closer look, activating my aspects for the eyes and
All right.
try to see from a distance,
Are you sneaking or are you just sort of slowly approaching?
like slowly, like not changing my pace, as I
Got
would
it.
do
Got it.
normally.
If you're checking for the ghoul, then roll me a perception empathy at 8.
All right.
Because that is the power.
Well, I was just trying to use more mundane things first
Oh,
to see
I
if there
mean,
was actually someone I recognize.
it currently has, it's sort of a little bit a cloaked individual as you come closer, right? Like during the night, you didn't really get a full clear, but as you get closer, yeah, it's sort of a cloaked individual. It's hard to get out the face.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I will actually activate.
Okay,
Let's see if I blind myself.
blind. One success. That is enough to recognize a particularly familiar aura. It is a ghoul. And it seems to be like at least the smaller outlines. It seems to be not jagged. It seems to be flowing. So you can get maybe the feel that the individual is calm, maybe,
Hmm.
but the color is really what gets you.
All right.
Stop killing
To
chickens.
anyways, I will just approach casually
All right.
and
As
see
you
if he. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
the as you do, the individual sort of you can see him like almost instinctively like look up, turn towards you, and lower his cloak. And it's at that moment when he lowers his hood. I mean not cloak. Lowers his hood that you recognize. It's a male. Slightly sort of a stubble, clean, sort of a bowl cut shave essentially. But you recognize this as one of your grandsire's retainers essentially. You've seen him around. And he approaches a little bit, bows to you, Lady Treblana.
Hello. What brings you here?
I bring a message from your grandsire.
Very well. Then let's head in, and you tell me what what he sent.
You know, he stands off to the side so that you unlock your house, you get in. He steps in. Lady Treblana, he stands there. He doesn't really take a seat. He just I'm only here as a messenger to notify that Lady Treblana is looking for your presence, either this night or tomorrow night, as soon as possible, at her domain and her haven. She notifies that you should bring the thing. She said that you would know what it is.
All right. Well, if that's it, tell her that I will come.
Very well. And he leaves. So yeah, what do you do then?
Well, if it's I presume this is like about the book
You,
you talked about
you
earlier.
presume correctly, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I would check if it's still there, and grab grab a shovel for later.
All right.
Maybe
Yeah.
something like cut human essentially, and then I will be off, I guess.
All right. Yeah, there's nothing inconspicuous about just an ugly lady with a shovel and a book in her hand. So
No, the book I leave. Like, I'm gonna go for first to the graveyard.
and then okay. Going to the end of the city outside to the things takes maybe about 30, 45 minutes. Because you have to go all the way over like this side and then to the right. So you have to pass through the main island again and go through all that. And yeah, you eventually get there. It's a pretty sizable cemetery, all things considering, and you don't currently see anybody there.
All right. I will be activating my Auspex real quick to have like a closer look to be sure to no one is there,
Okay.
and I have like enough time. And then I will try. Like how deep is the grave gonna be?
The graves aren't going to be tremendously deep. Like what? Maybe shoveling is going to take. How strong are you? Or how yeah, how strong are
Two,
you?
two,
It
but I
might
will probably. Sorry, what? You're
it
breaking
might
up.
take you about with that many strength, essentially working out for a shovel, might take you about maybe 20 minutes before you uncover it. Just the surface area, like the main area.
Okay. What if I buff by 2?
That will help expedite the process
Yeah.
by
No. Okay. That will.
probably by half, essentially.
Yeah. Then I will do that. I want to be done here as quickly as possible.
There is also the fact. Give me just a general perception investigation roll. Aspects will apply, but the base difficulty will be 7. And this is mostly to see the speed when until you find that what you're looking for, essentially.
All right.
All right. It does take you long. You have to enter what right. You realize pretty quickly, in knowing of cemeteries, you know that the ones right at the entrance of it won't be what you're looking for. If you're looking for fresher, you need to go a bit in the back, right?
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
kind of go there and then you start looking and blah blah, and you eventually find essentially a grave. No grass over it. It seems to be fresh ground, cross put, just there, and sort of looking around things. And it's like, okay, yeah. This got to be it. Looking. Well, actually, you find multiple of those graves, and now you're just looking for a sign, essentially, to tell you that that's what you're looking for. Actually,
Yeah. I'm not looking for someone that there might be indications like either like convicted person or like hanged, that
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. That's why I'm saying you have to kind of uncover mostly the head to see if you see the marks around the neck, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, for this case, because it is kind of based on that, give me a luck die. Higher is better.
All right.
Okay. So you see, it's like, okay, there's 4 graves, all, like a little bit separated from each other. And it's like, okay, I'm going to start with this one. Dig, 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 in that specific area. You go through, you see the head, sort of, it's still, fresh, no real decomposing yet. And you look and wow, you hit it. You hit the mark. You found a guy.
Perfect.
As the signs around the neck, presumably hanged.
Yeah. Very good. I will be taking. Um, Actually, let me take like just both hands, just to be sure.
Just in case.
And I want to, since hanged people are usually convicted too, I would just take like his fat too, like just like really graphic cover it up, and
So you're taking his hands, and did I hear right? You're taking his fat.
yeah, I need some some of it, I believe.
All right.
Are
Okay.
you making a hand of glory, you degenerate?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, he is.
Of course you fucking are.
So, all right, you with your, you buff up. You're like, okay, dig, 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 get there. Okay, puts hand out of the grave. Ameno, chop. Next side, chop. And then you sort of come up. You got two hands, and you cut. You uncover a little bit. You put up. He got some clothing on him still. It's tattered robes, so you kind of just force it open a little bit. Incision, blah blah, go through. You work your magic, and yeah, you have enough medicine to basically just get somebody's fat essentially.
Yeah.
It's nice to have another flesh harvester in the party.
God bless. And yeah, you're able to extract. Do you want to take just enough for the ritual? Or do you want to take some more? Presumably some more, right?
Yeah, some more.
Yeah.
Unless it's like too much work essentially. Since
Uh,
it's basically great.
you're able to get not really a cup, but let's just somewhat you're gonna have enough essentially, especially if you don't fuck up the ritual and it goes well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're able to get everything. Do you clean up the evidence?
Well, yeah, I will just bury it to be again. Since fresh grave, it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah, you're able to hover over. You take a look around. No Undertaker this time around. Yeah, look, Lady Fortune is on your side, and yeah, you got your ingredients.
Very good. Let me check something real quick. I don't know if like V20 has like the Dark Age has like the limitation to obfuscate too. But I'll probably just leave with like obfuscate on if
You're obfuscating.
yeah.
No.
I'm not sure like how this works like item wise to be honest. At Dark Age, I know it doesn't work in like V20 because there's like limitation on things you can carry around.
Yeah, a shovel.
I think if it's stored away in your pockets and the like, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, but I can't store the shovel.
If I'd say, going how medieval people dress things, if you're able to, if you put it kind of weirdly in like the back, essentially, and cover it with your cloak and your clothes and like carry it that way, I'd say you'd be able to do it. But it kind of makes you a little bit stiff.
Yeah, that's I guess fine.
Because if it's under the clothes and things and you're concealing it in some form of way, yeah, you can do it. And luckily, this is just a shovel.
Yeah.
So, where to next?
Well, first of all, we'll be dumping that stuff again. And then the meeting was tonight, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, she wanted to have to see you at tonight, but you weren't given a specific time.
Yeah. She will understand. I will go back and take the book and then leave probably like some other set of like ropes or something. Since
Right.
I just luck.
Cleanliness is important. Hygiene is important, kids, even if you're already dead inside.
Oof! I always say do this as like a sign of politeness.
Ah, of course.
Listen, you'll only get sick if you don't pray to the forest spirits.
Yeah. It's kind of a bit weird because also let me just do something. So going it's kind of weird. By the way, you did say where you wanted your haven, but I forgot to fucking ask you. And I just presume
I noted it down like in my handout better. I hope that's all right. It's not the original place, like a graveyard or something. I just took like an abandoned house in the city.
West side. Fuck, what is west? Yes, on the left side. Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, abandoned home, size 2, luxury 1, that would probably be down. That'd probably be a little bit down on the south. So it is kind of weird because you had to go, outside for the cemetery, go back, go home, reclean, and then go back because this is actually where your sire is, just so you know in the future. And so the weird track about it. So it takes you, finishing all of this, maybe going back 3 4 hours, walking 45 minutes, walking back. That's already an hour and a half doing all of this, getting cleansed, blah blah, and a servant. But eventually, at around maybe midnight, maybe it's getting like midnight at like 12:30 in the morning, you go into finer domain, and you've been here before, and it is a luxurious sort of like noble manor, right? It's a little bit off-putting here on the right side, but it is amongst the wall, and it feels has a small little courtyard, has things. It's like almost 3 stories high, has a small little like stone tower to it, essentially at one of the sides as well. It's both weird looking, both like military like, but at the same time extremely residential. But it is a fantastic house nonetheless.
We're all
And
wondering where he found this house in the middle of a forest next to a bear cave.
he's his house is in the city, at least what the handout says.
We can't see it on the map. We just see a forest and a bear.
Wait, didn't I drag players?
No,
I'm so confused. Thank you, Debbie. There we go.
You cunts. Okay, re-pinging now. This this is fuck you cunts. This is essentially where your yes, thank you, ping. That is where your sire is, grandsire, I mean, is. And as you sort of approach, it's got a fencing of some sort, combination of sort of both wood and a little bit of stone at the very base. You approach the entrance, and from there you see sort of standing on guard, just a guard actually, sort of like almost at the maybe about a meter away from like the entrance gate essentially. And he looks at you, recognizes you, opens up the gate for you, and he just shows you the way in. You go in, you go in through the main hall. There's stairs leading up instantly from that hall, but you know that you're supposed to take a right to go into like that stone tower and then go down. And as you make your way down, it's sort of a spiral staircase of things. You finally eventually come into this pretty spacious room that has desks, tables, uh, an assortment of flasks, jars, mugs, casks, everything. Like it's basically a laboratory. And you're always impressed when you come in here because it is really filled with a lot of things. And you see at one of those tables, essentially, your grandsire just simply looking down, reading something. And as you step down, she sort of just like doesn't move her head, but she just looks up, and you can notice her stare on you. And she just sort of just like straightens up. Evening, Triblana.
I'll make a deep bow. You called for me.
I have. Step forward.
Step
She's
forward.
pretty. She's pretty still. She's doesn't make any unnecessary movement. She doesn't breed. She's lived a life of undeadness, and there's also that feel of just stoic. Kind of reminds you of the feeling you have sometimes in you, and it's a little bit intimidating, even both being that your grandsire and just her presence in total. And she says, "Take also let me show you her because I forget to do that." She's pretty young looking, by the way. Like, young looking. Maybe about 1920, actually. So, not overly different from you, actually.
Yeah.
And she says, "Please, take a seat and make yourself comfortable."
I will do as she says and put the book in like some nearby table or something.
All right. I see you've brought me what I require. And was it difficult?
Not overly so. The the most difficult part was actually for, getting the carriage is sometimes it's so difficult to deal with the mortals. I probably should get some sort of servant in the future.
That's why I have an entire house of them. Tell me, have you read the contents?
Yeah, I read most of it. Most of it seems not to be based on like outright magic, but more like folklore. it's it's mainly in Latin with like some French side notes, and it talks about like how about how certain bones. One example includes some sort of and a and make like a tilt my head as a funny bone, which can be can be used as a powder in meals to make people happy. Not quite sure. It's a bit unusual for what we usually do, but I say
Most,
knowledge is knowledge.
most of the things we do are quite interesting, so to say. Some things we take for literal, granted, facts. However, some things you may find in the most extreme of places. Even a madman spitting gibberish may in fact have interesting viewpoint on life and what it can do for you.
I resent that reference.
I don't know that reference. What did I just do?
Listen, if you have a problem with alleged madman, fuck you.
Oh, that okay. You see, if we can, if a man believes such a thing, folklore, he must have based it upon something, correct?
There is a grain of truth in every deception. Blah blah blah.
Sometimes, yes.
Now tell me, if that is the case for some random French who had the knowledge of Latin, wouldn't the same be said for those great before us? Those men were also ridiculed for their gibberish, and yet today we take them as a fact.
I nod. That is certainly true. I will. I will. I'm planning, with your permission, of course, to maybe test out some of those things in the book and see how much value it has.
Of course. But you must allow me at least 3 days, 3 nights, for me to properly read and study the book myself before I can allow you to look into it again.
Of course, of course. I still remember some enough parts of it to get started on my own. Anyways,
Splendid. Now tell me, since it has been some time, I am aware from last time that you are trying to progress your knowledge of death, necromancy, and entropy and all the likeness. How does it fare for you?
while I still haven't mastered everything, I'm still going ahead in my studies.
Of course.
I believe not too distant future I should be able to achieve to master my path and to finally finish certain rituals that I have been theorizing for quite some time.
Now, I know that all of us love to achieve knowledge, but we also love to harbor knowledge. With your permission, child, I would like to view and observe this ritual that you will take in the future when you have perfected it.
Very well. This can most certainly be arranged.
I
Ah,
would like to know the details now, but I suppose that perhaps knowing an incomplete prototype of some sorts might not be the most wisest of things, and I do not wish to provide you help. Knowledge is sometimes need to be acquired by your own means. However, materials that might be required, I cannot give you them, but I can show you them where you can get them if need be. You won't find, a Saharan serpent snake and its poison over here. That's for sure. But I know people from there that might be able to achieve it, and I do wish to see your progress. I have great, I see great potential in you.
thank you for your confidence. I know it's a. Uh, I know I have been concentrating on other things than my necromancy, but I believe all kinds of knowledge are useful, even if they come in the form of let's say the different powers of the blood that I mastered, that I progressed on.
Never forget, while necromancy is, no doubt, powerful, and we do practice it, there is more to the kindred body than just necromancy. For example, learning higher levels of aspects might require some viewpoints, minute details that you've never known before. Small mistake in writing and doing the ritual can lead to disaster. And fortitude, well, it helps us not have any more serious accidents after failure is achieved, and failure will be achieved. Do not forget that, child.
Of course, everything is an opportunity to learn after all.
Is there anything else you would wish to report for this night? Any insights? Any news? Any rumors?
Well, I heard some news, but you probably heard it yourself. There seems to be a sort of a selection process for a new royal guard.
Ah, of course. I have heard of this, yes. However, such things do not interest me. Though what does interest me is that we might see many more brethren of our clan arriving to the city for this, in pursuit of knowledge as well as we do. You should be prepared. Some of us can be a bit more ambitious.
Hmm. I will keep that in mind. Oh, just a thing of note. Up, my coterie was actually part of the preparations. I'm not really sure why the seneschal called me in, but at least for two of us, he had at least some purpose in mind when he called us in.
I would presume it is nothing more but just a formality.
Perhaps,
If I
perhaps.
was in his steps, inviting half of your coterie to something important and the other half not to, is already a sign of, well, who matters and who doesn't.
Well, yeah, I did wonder why. Well, he didn't even really know. Wasn't even sure what my name was.
He will learn one
But
day.
well, yes, he will. With a bit of a devious smile.
And she gives you back, finally having a little bit of more movement in her, she finally gives you back a very small, very subtle smile. It's like, now go, child. Rest up. And I do hope that your progress goes with fruition.
I stand up, take a deep bow, and leave.
as you leave. Um, you're going back to your haven presumably,
Yep.
and are you going to be doing the ritual instantly, or starting on it, or taking some time?
Let me quickly look what I can get started right away. I believe I have to like mummify it first.
Let me check also on your sheet because that's you got the description all through, right?
Yeah. Mummify the left hand of a hanged fellow in an earthen jar with salpeter and peppercorns.
Okay, so it happens and then in a fortnight. So, fuck, is a fortnight 2 days after or 3 nights after?
Isn't the fortnight like 14 days?
I don't remember.
Fortnite is 2 weeks. If-
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
so yeah, there you go.
So essentially just have to like code it and
Yeah,
put it in the
have,
jar.
have the starting preparations.
Yeah.
When I'm not gonna have you roll that now, but rather in the 2 weeks essentially. When you start, getting it in, you actually have to, for the first light up and stuff like that, right? When you have to prepare it and tallow it out.
Yeah.
This is
And
just coding it essentially.
I also need to start getting started on like making the wax of like the tallow of the rendered metal with the from the condemned man's fat.
Yeah. That'll all
So
come in part after, checking the quality
yeah,
and things. But for now,
but
this is essentially a preparation phase.
yeah.
Okay.
And I want to remove the meat from like the right hand since I took both hands.
Okay.
I want to make like a
Butterfly.
eventually like some sort of like like more of a in order that the later powers of my path allow me to like use like a skull that bites down,
Mhm.
and I want to attach that essentially to like that right hand in the future. So I want to like cook off like the meat
All right.
and like preserve it, and then make sure that the hand is like in good shape essentially, and it like the
We'll note
so
then,
get like a hippie stick.
because that is a fair point. Though actually, you're skilled enough at, and you even specialize in preservation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're able to do that. So hold up, I'm trying to get this idea. So you're gonna have the hand, and you're gonna have like a skull. How is it? Fuck it, find out later.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, the hand is like it's not just the hand, I believe, right? It's
Mhm.
just it's like with like a bit of the arm there too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
essentially, what I want to do is like you use the hand, like put the skull in, with
okay,
like right, like it's grabbing it,
okay.
and then I hold the thing myself. I not just use it like a hitty thing.
Yeah, no, because when you said skull, the first thing I thought was you're gonna take the right hand and sort of take like a smaller handmade skull and sort of make like a necklace out of that or something.
Nah.
Fair
Oof.
enough. That would have been a cool idea. But you take that preparation, going through, walking around, that all takes a great amount of time. And
Yeah.
the night eventually comes to a close. Everybody's done their job. Uh, Somebody fought a bear. You discovered you did some grave robbing and had a talk with your grandsire. Francis ended up well, let's just say give Queen Helen a great deal of pleasure in some form of way. And Severin over here, well, he tasted a lot of wine.
I'm not even done for the night, man. I just did that for like 3 hours. I have like half the night left.
Would you want to do something else? Do you have something in mind?
I had something in mind before, but I forgot at this point. Fuck.
Fucking. Can you think of it now?
Uh, it was something about fucking making money. I can't remember what the fuck my plan was.
Well, if you can't remember how to make money, crap, that sounds like a you problem. The poor stay poor and the smart get rich.
God damn it.
Fucking blessed. Though there will be a moment, especially after writing everything down on the from Roland, essentially. He will ask you essentially, my lord, if I may ask you a question.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Is it possible to learn your expertise in wine?
Shit.
Fucker wants to put you out of a job, don't let him.
To reach my level is quite hard, Roland. But if you have the will, it is possible.
I want to do nothing more but to please my master, and providing him and his ghouls with the necessary wine would be the greatest of honors for me.
Well, do you have any of the tools or resources required for this?
Well, um, I had back in my village before I came here. Should I bring stuff over?
Fuck, I have like this super bad plan of like I'll just use him to make money because I'll make mine and I'll just like, oh yeah, watch me do this, and then I'll just fucking make it and sell it. Fuck. That's so mean. Just use his stuff and then sell it for my sake. Tuition fee?
God bless. Apprenticeship
Uh
does exist for
yeah,
everything.
it does, but like is it fucking okay for me to take a fucking ghoul as my apprentice? Fuck. Or do I steal this ghoul?
Do you have law?
Law?
Yes.
Let me
Or
see.
law or
No.
politics?
I have politics.
Give me an intelligence politics then roll at
Alright.
difficulty 6.
Oh wait. Fuck. There you go. Oh shit, almost did 61 dice.
Don't do
There
61 dice.
we- Yes.
With that many successes, you know that ghouls are basically a property of their master. And
Exactly. Stealing ghouls is pretty
you
bad.
treating somebody else like that would be if.
Improper.
But if you're willing to provide and ask the master's, his master's permission to teach,
I
and
mean,
the master says yes, then it would go through.
I'm I would have been fucking improving his ghoul for him. How the fuck would that be bad?
Well,
Oh,
it wouldn't be
maybe.
bad. It's more of you need permission, essentially.
You could be pumping the goal for information during that time, for example.
Yeah, I guess.
Just think of what Epic could do with full access to someone's ghoul. That's what the elder vampires think when you offer this.
Fuck, I can even read his mind too. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
He won't even know. I mean, they don't know I can do it though. But anyway, yeah, I do have. I could be fucking his ghoul up pretty
You're a
badly. That's
Toreador with
true.
what, nearly a century of age?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, their first thought is, how are they trying to fuck me right now? Oh wait, he's from an Auspex clan.
Or a presence clan. This fucking majesty to go. Fuck.
Or what about both?
What a papa. Yeah, exactly. Oof.
Also, the ghoul
Alright.
may have access to them during the day while they sleep. Chat raises
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah, that's
So what
very
do you
true.
say?
Well, Roland, I admire your will, but I can't do anything without your master's permission.
I understand. I don't believe a lowly a lowly ghoul such as me could even speak to the sire, to my master, anytime soon. Very well.
I
I'll
will,
strive upon greatness myself then, and hopefully. But thank you, my lord.
no problem. We'll probably see each other more when I have to come back here.
Of course. We will be, I believe, receiving another shipment of wine soon. I believe in 3 or 4 days, if everything goes right. Would you? I believe you would be interested in that as well.
Yes, that sounds very interesting. Maybe I can add some more to this great feast that they shall be having.
He nods. But yeah, you've checked all that shit out, and he seems solid for now. Do you got anything else, or we done so?
What did you say? 4 days?
Yeah, three to 4 days.
Okay.
Depends, obviously if everything goes right on the road and stuff like that.
I'm wondering who his fucking master could be. Like, there's a bunch of people that his master could be. It's probably the Seneschal, but yeah, I don't know that. Could
Mm,
be anyone.
could be anyone. But anyways, it's already level 11:15, so
Yeah.
let's be ending the session now. So, I suppose we should do it this way. Let's start left to right. Chris, actually no, never mind. I see Chris smile in the eyes. Redimir, let's go right to left. Redimir, what did you, how'd you feel about today's session? Oh fuck, I asked that question. Ah nah. Chris is
BRB, boy.
fuck. Okay. Person in line. Craft, how do you feel about this session?
He knows what's coming. He knows.
It was pretty fun. I probably should have asked the fucking Chamberlain a lot more questions about the fucking feast. I regret everything.
Yeah, when somebody has a lot of job on his hand instantly.
Bastard doesn't even fucking know what I do, motherfucker.
Like, let me just note this out of character since you guys would have gotten this info. You guys have contact anyways. So Rosette went presumably, MIA 2 weeks ago, and they want a big ass feast in 3 weeks. That's not an easy feat to do.
I mean, I'm more like, why the fuck did they not seem to care about this fucking Rosette? Fuck. He was probably killed by them.
That's because they know already who killed him at the top level, and those below don't need to ask questions if they value their hides, Craft.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, thinking. Fuck, they killed him.
Oops! This stake slipped right in.
It just happens.
He fell on my sword 52 times and burst into ash.
Fair. Lord Fagnon, how do you feel about this session today?
Was pretty good overall.
So you get seduced by... So you get seduced by Helen and lose 50 blood points. What do you do?
It's at the Succubus Club yet.
I don't know. It would be a weird thing. It's like, okay, you're getting sucked dry of your blood, but you failed your self-control check. So, at one hand, you're scared for your life. But on the other hand, a hot woman is sucking you dry and you know that your soul is going to be a part of hers forever. How do you feel about that?
And well, once she reaches the soul, in horrible agony, actually.
Fucking blessed. I'm not gonna push you. When somebody says pretty good overall, I'm gonna take it at face value because then I can't be called a bad ST if everything's pretty good overall. Chris, what did you think about this session today?
Well, I'm gonna be the bigger man and not cut you out of valuable feedback. Well, you do, on occasion, stumble over the slow build-up, but other than a few hiccups where you kind of kept going in circles and losing your tread, it was very well done, especially considering that this is your first time actually running a session, Demi.
Yeah, I didn't have prep, by the way. I had to improv stuff because that's just what I do.
But yeah, no. Obviously, I don't know where the slow build-up is going, and if it's gonna fizzle out, and Twitch chat is gonna be right, and you are just plain shit ST. But as far as carrying out the slow build-up, pretty good overall.
You can't put characters in demise if you don't feel for the characters yet.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be sad about losing, your 6 appearance character that just was a millisecond off from having, banging my queen.
You're my queen.
But hey, what you gonna do? God bless. Also, yeah, just mark down somewhere, Yaxi, just for reference. You are from the genealogy of Helen of Troy. This will forever stain your soul. You cannot escape your destiny. One day, somebody's gonna come into your house, whisper in your ear, "I'm Menele, and I'm here for you."
But he's after her.
Sometimes, to get to her, you have to climb the ladder.
Also, he's like humanity 10, he can't hurt me.
Who said he's gonna hurt you?
How many fucking 4th gen Toreadors are there even? That are like still alive. There's like Michael in Byzantium, right? And then there's Helen of Troy.
Yeah, there's a few people. There's also a bitch in Constantinople. Yeah, Michael. That's the bitch.
Yeah.
Don't know actually about the entire genealogy.
Are we really gonna talk about the genealogy of White Wolf characters?
Okay, sure. Let's make it more interesting and actually have some value to it. Let's talk about the Ventrue genealogy.
Well, I hear that the best Ventrue descend from Dracul.
By the way, I just like to. I'm not sure what the Gangrel genealogy was, but I just like to imagine when they're writing "embraced this year, died this year, sire?" Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Embraced? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark?
Well, if the child isn't shit, the sire is supposed to come back after going out for smokes, Demi.
But sometimes the werewolf gets him.
Sometimes he thinks I could fight a bear.
My sire went out for a pack of smokes 5 centuries ago and he never came back.
Anyways, Redmir, or rather Treblana, how did you feel about today's session?
Well, I guess it was alright.
The correct term is pretty good overall.
Yes.
Get on.
Pretty good overall done.
So I guess who does the outro? You or me this time, Chris?
Well, first you need to assign valuable experience points to your favorites. Also, I would like to make a case that I showed off to Lambert and thus have fulfilled my nature.
Your nature being?
Gallant.
Take it.
Fuck. Wait, did I inspire the fucking ghoul or was he already fucking inspired?
I would say that you inspired him definitely throughout that, or at least that's how he felt.
Fuck, I'm already at full willpower. Fuck. Fucking
So,
trust.
usually how we're gonna go with XP essentially. We're just gonna basically be going by 3 XP a session essentially.
Alright.
You're not old enough. You're still, young. You got young blood. You're still looking for booty out in the world. Take 3 XP.
Okay.
Now, I could obviously implement the, infamous MVP and have somebody be 20 XP ahead, but we're not going to do that, guys. We're all equal in this place.
A wise decision, until someone misses a session.
So, what we're going to do instead is actually a pro gamer move. Guys, who do you think was the biggest loser this time around to get -1 XP? I vote for Chris.
What the hell is that a pro gamer move?
It's a hard choice between Defanion and Craft.
What the fuck?
I was a winner, I did everything my queen wanted.
Yes, just sucking on her toes while she pours you your bathwater, sure.
Oof, it was the most impressive.
You can see where his allegiances stand. Stand with me, your storyteller. I will bring you to glory. God bless. But yeah, since the night is ending, everybody, and also session ends. Basically, you get 1 willpower. We're gonna go with 1 willpower per session. Dark Ages says per night, but fuck, that's gonna be a lot, and I want it actually to be slightly precious, especially since we're gonna be skipping some nights. So it's gonna be like every 4 days, you're just gonna be like, give 4 willpower back. So 1 willpower a session. Also, conserve it, Redimir, then. Yeah, get fucked.
You know, I only planned to spend one, and I was like, ah, shit, I'm not used to always telling what's technically the truth when I'm pressed.
God fucking blessed. But yeah, I suppose I'll do the outro. Everybody who's on stream yet, and we even got up to 9 viewers, which means
We hit 11 at one point.
PogChamp.
Yeah, PogChamp right here. That's gonna change in the next session when there's only 3 viewers, maybe 2.
If
God
there's
forbid.
such a big drop off, you're seeing the pimp hand, Demi. You better perform.
But yeah, everybody who's on the stream, thanks you for watching. Everybody who's on YouTube, which is, well, chapter 1 actually. Chapter 1 gets some views, believe it or not. So to the 10 viewers who see this, thanks for watching. And yeah, say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
So the session was pretty good overall.
Goodbye.
Bye.